Okay, so we live now. Okay, greetings, ladies and
The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. Listen here, this is a fact of life. I be rapping like Nat Turner came back to life. Grab Donald Trump by the pussy, he ain't acting right. I never run from a conflict, I be glad to fight. It's a very cold world that we living in. Somebody please tell Elizabeth you're not an Indian. You just trying to con them people to get the benefit. Just another immigrant, stealing from the Indians. That's some punk ass shit and that's too lame. Now we finna step over to Andrew Yang. And you a sucker, you could never speak for black folks. Fake ass pandit, trying to get the black vote. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. You know your boy be high off sativa. Kamala wasn't popping, so we said bye, Felicia. She ain't had a right policy. We ain't trying to meet her. Y'all can take Biden too. Bye. We don't need him. We don't need Roland Martin or that coon Al Sharpton. Didn't need Cory Booker from the start, man. I don't fuck with police and no snitch. You know I'm coming with the heat when I spit it. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. If you ever go to court and this is your luck, try not to get fucked by Benjamin Crump. I know it's hard. You and all go is hard. But who the fuck is Amy Cloak? Put her picture up on the bullseye and start throwing darts. People cut our organs out our bodies, that's a stolen heart. They can't save us from the flood like Noah's Ark. Black lives always matter, we finna go for ours. So then we savages, we don't need to pot the piss. Mike Bloomberg can suck dick with that stop and frisk, bitch. You ain't speaking for us, we don't know you. Bernie Sanders, they get your funky ass on too. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me. Speak for me.
I'm talking about shawty going crazy. People going crazy in them motherfuckers. Run that shit back, man.
But it's nothing. Nothing. Got a woman on the bed. Man made the car. Man made the train to carry the heavy load. Man made the electrolyte to kick us out of the dark. Man made the boat for the water like the 7-no-meter. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girl and a baby boy. And man makes them happy because man makes them joy. But after man make everything we can, do you know that man makes money? To buy from other men. This is a man's world. But
Hey.
Grand evening to you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Front Line Blacc News. I'm your host, Shane Kurma. I'm joined with my West Coast correspondent, Shabaka Sankori. Shabaka's Black Experience Enhancer, which I'm the co-executive producer and co-host of. Greetings, Shabaka, from the Mile High Income City.
Man, take that hat off, man. Pony Express, man. You know what I'm saying? And we up here lose to a bunch of bums out here in Las Vegas, 3-0, man. Man, I'm pissed off, man. You know, we pirates, and we in from the birthplace of the Black Panther Party, man, and we up here losing to some scrubs, man. 3-0, man. Man, boo, man. Boo. We'll see you guys in the last season of regular season, man. Up there, man, at the Pony Express Stadium, man. We're gonna put you guys in a barn, man, for the whole postseason. Man, but these fools out here in Oakland, man, Mark Davis, Shabaka Sankori, man, sell the goddamn team, man. Fire all the assistant coaches, the head coach, fire your first string, bring all the second string players in. At least go out, man, you know, with some type of damn dignity, man. Y'all up here losing 3-0, man, and 4 damn quarters to a bunch of bums. They sat up here and lost to some bums, man. Losing to Minnesota, the Vikings. Up here losing to Neanderthals. Up here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I see you there. Okay. Music by Cool Keezy. All right. And then greetings there to all our well wishers and supporters out there, Frontline Blacc News. Okay, for all our haters out there, you guys may go fuck yourselves. And we want to make that perfectly clear. For all our haters, okay? And then you Biden sexual motherfuckers, or damn, what's that team over there, man, in San Francisco, man, who represent Boys Town? I think they had something to do with a gold rush called the 49ers. And Philadelphia. Y'all need to put a piano in your asses so there'll be music in the air. Damn Eagles up there losing to some bums, man.
Die, Eagle, die. The hell they in
Man, I'ma laugh my ass off, man. If the Pony Express loses to the bums out of Las Vegas, man, you know what I'm saying? I just don't know what to say. Damn Raiders turn into the fucking sparring partners of the NFL. If they're getting their asses beat 3-0. Now, I'd be a mad son of a bitch if I would have went over there to Allegiant Stadium and paid $125 for some goddamn tickets to see these motherfuckers lose 3-0 to bums. They lost to bums. Straight out bums. Okay. The Chargers lost. Okay. Well, it don't matter now. We just want to see the Pony Express for the last game in Allegiant Stadium. And they already got Super Bowl tickets out here going for $300. And they're going to have a detail out there. So for all you scalpers and coming out there and selling tickets that you're making on a damn print machine on the internet, yeah. Las Vegas Police Department is going to be out there for your ass. And plus, you know, you had this crazy bastard, you know, who did the shooting at UNLV. You know what I mean? So security is going to be tight. It really is. So, you know, like Robert De Niro said in that movie. And like
Can you
Robert
hear
De
me?
Niro said in that movie, yeah, I could hear you. Like Robert De Niro
Oh,
said in Casino,
okay.
when they had the Super Bowl here, this will not be the city to fuck around, is because for people coming out here fucking up, they got something for your ass out here. So we
Well, I
researching that there too.
really hope that my Denver Broncos are playing in the Super Bowl in Allegiant Stadium. That would make my year. But getting back to the
Sir,
show,
sir, sir, y'all
this is
ain't welcome
episode.
in the Legion Stadium.
Just like y'all ain't welcomed in Mile High Stadium. We have a consistent story.
Man,
So
man, I'm just hoping, man, that
thank
we
y'all
beat you
for
guys like we did in
season
2008.
3. Thank y'all for tuning into season 3, episode 36, part 2 of the Front Line Black News. And we were discussing the topics that we didn't get to last in part 1. That
Right.
is heightened. Hunter Biden indicted on 9 tax charges, facing 17 years in prison. Terrence Howard
Great
sued
news.
correct, collect, collective
Creative
artists.
artists. Yeah. Yeah, he's suing creative artists out there in Los Angeles. And creative artists, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know, they're agency, for actors and actresses, who want to do bona fide work, and we ain't talking about ghetto gaggers or the porno tramps or anything like that. But creative artists is one of the top-notch agencies out there in Los Angeles that do represent, bona fide, qualified actors. And Mr. Howard is going through some legal issues. It's because he has stated publicly over the past, and we did announce this on Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, is that he is tired of the imagery of how they are degrading us as a people, pretty much. I'm paraphrasing Mr. Howard. And he's just saying is that this bullshit is getting more and more redundant. The ratchetness is too much. And then, too, Brother Chad, I want to bring this up very, very sad note, very, very sad note that I saw a Facebook clip on of a woman who was up there twerking and got her ass all up in there, and some white boy comes up behind her, if you know what I mean. And her 6-year-old son is in this video, and he was highly upset about it. You know what I'm saying? And and he was mad with his mama, and he was crying. So he's only 6 years old. He does not know how to handle and deal with this ratchetness. You see what I'm saying? So hey, you sisters, you want to go out there and shake your ass? Hey, that's your ass, or what have you. But
My
black
friend
woman, you
had a
don't
nice
need to
comment
degrade
for
yourself,
us out here. So I was going to put his
huh?
comment up. So my friend had a nice comment for us. Shout out to Sab Sab. He wanted me to let you
Okay,
know that.
okay,
Can you
brother
read it?
Che, you faded out. No, hold on, let me see. Hold on, let me put some eyes on right here. He said Broncos, man. Oh man, Pony Express, man.
Broncos, goddammit.
You
They got the
know,
Traitors.
and
When they were
man, and we went out there and lost the bombs, man. Three to nothing, man. What kind of shit is that, man? How much rather, man, we would have got trounced, man, 35-0, but 3-0.
Yeah, so getting back
Three
to
to
the
nothing, man.
getting back to the title description, we're gonna act like we have some kind of order tonight. City Mayor
Uh-huh.
Eric Adams goes to Biden for the 10th time begging for help with migrants. And
Mm-hmm.
Eric Adams'
Okay.
rating is at record lows. And guess who he
Good.
blames? I wonder who could possibly be blamed. And then we have Hannah Payne murder case begins in Atlanta, Georgia, 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have time, Unhoused Neighbor News, Unhoused Neighbor Sweeps.
Yes, sir. Okay. So far, the only updates that we got out of Los Angeles is the situation with Mr. Howard. him and Creative Artists. And as I said, Creative Artists is one of the top leading agencies there in Hollywood. And so, a warning to all you individuals, who want to go out there to Hollywood, make a name for yourself. Hey, we wish you well. I lived there in Los Angeles 40 plus years. It is difficult and what have you, but please, please, please read your contracts that when you deal with these people, get you an attorney. You know what I'm saying? Even if you have to go out there to UCLA and Westwood and get you a law student, who's about to pick up his JD degree, to give him some extra credit. And then if you're in the northern part of California, you can go to UC Berkeley. You can go to the law clinic over there that they have off of Shattuck. That did a lot of work during the late 1960s and what have you. So if you want to go out there to Hollywood and make a name for yourself, do it while you're young. It is an overcrowded business. Black women, they're going to want to approach you with ghetto gagging, doing them other type of films for your auditions out there, in those mansions there in Woodland Hills and Topanga Canyon and what have you. Don't fall for the hype, beautiful black woman. Don't let them white boys degrade you like that. They want to put 3 and 4 white boys on a sister and make them films. You know what I'm saying? Talking about they're going to be big time stars. The worst thing that you could do to your career, young ladies, also too, look at that bum Harvey Weinstein, okay? The sister who played General Okoye in Black Panther, Ms. Lupita. And Ms. Lupita, you're welcome to call into Shabak's Black Experience Enhanced. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they had passed her around too. You know what I mean? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that we're having some technical difficulties there in our Denver office. Okay, we're coming to you out here from Las Vegas. Okay, Brother Che is realigning in the studio, and what it is though, we understand why all this stuff is happening, just because they hate the message and they hate the truth of what we put out there, so they try to discredit us, they try to throw us under the bus. You know what I'm saying? But the more they come to us with this bullshit, the more that we know that we are telling the truth, to our audience out there. Okay, so hopefully more lawsuits will follow. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you, Brother Che. So I was just up there emphasizing, for our people who want to venture out there to Los Angeles, start them a career in entertainment. Hey, more power to you. But sisters, just don't go out there being no ghetto gaggers for them tricks, okay? And it's all
Right.
Glitter, and because all that glitters is not gold, okay? Listen
That's
to a
right.
record by the Miracles made in 1975 on an album called, believe it or not, The City of Angels, talking about poor Charlotte ladies. Yeah. Sisters, you need to listen to that song, okay? Because them white boys do not respect you. And Shabaka Sankora said that my qualifications to make such a statement, I lived the majority of my life in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Yeah, and
so
I'm just telling you.
Biden, his son, is saying that
Okay.
Biden tax charges, facing 11 years in prison or 17 years.
Okay, hook 'em and book 'em. Okay, hook 'em and book 'em. You're gonna send them to Camp Snoopy anyway. You're probably gonna give them a bunch of narcotics for them to consume, like Ray Liotta did in Goodfellas. You know what I'm saying? So hook 'em and book 'em. You know what I mean? I don't have no sympathy for his rich, cracked out, dope fiend ass. You know what I'm saying? Biden, you're too old for the fucking job. Resign. Madam Vice President, one of the worst attorney generals that the state of California has ever seen. Ma'am, go on and resign. Okay, but wait a minute though. But if she resigns, they would have to give it to that bum who's the Speaker of the House, right?
Correct.
Yeah, who is this trick? Because I don't know nothing about it.
Hakeem Jeffries.
They made Hakeem Jeffries the Speaker of the House.
I believe. I think
Oh man, oh Lord, now we are really in trouble. Yeah, that's a coon for real. And then also too, as we emphasized last night, that Sheila Jackson Lee lost by a landslide to be the mayor of Houston, Texas. Great news. Okay, so what is happening is congressional black useless caucus. Okay, you guys are a joke. Okay, and you making our people look real bad. And as a black man in America, I don't dig it.
I don't dig it either.
And anybody, yeah.
So this is
And if don't nobody dig it, yes, sir.
It's from TD Media Group, formerly TD Hip Hop, but it's the same dude.
All right.
He gonna give us an update on Hunter Biden being his son indicted on non-tax charges. 15 years in prison.
Okay, well that's great news.
Son of President Joe Biden has been indicted on 9 tax charges in California, further intensifying a special investigation into his business dealings. The charges, consisting of 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors, are in addition to existing federal firearms charges in Delaware related to alleged violations of laws prohibiting drug users
from purchasing a firearm. Yeah. Yeah, when you go to
Hunter Biden on a lavish lifestyle rather than meeting his tax obligations between 2016 and 2019. The charges highlight at least $1.4 million in unpaid taxes during a period when Biden openly struggled with addiction, and the taxes have since been settled. If convicted, the 53-year-old Biden could face a maximum of 17 years in prison, with the special counsel investigation remaining open. Defense attorney Abby Lowell responded vehemently, alleging that Weiss succumbed to political pressure, asserting if Hunter's last name was anything other than Biden, the charges would not have been brought. The charge drugs, luxury hotels, and exotic cars, emphasizing that these charges are a result of his failure to fulfill his tax obligations. The indictment comes amid an ongoing impeachment inquiry by congressional Republicans claiming influence peddling involving the president and his son. The charges in California follow the collapse of a plea deal over the summer, which would have spared Hunter Biden in jail. Agreement, criticized as a sweetheart deal by Republicans, fell apart, putting the case on track for a potential trial as president by election. The defense plans to challenge the new charges, potentially relying on immunity provisions from the original plea deal, although prosecutors argue that the documents are invalid as they were not signed by a judge. Additionally, there are plans to push for the dismissal of the gun charges, deemed unprecedented and unconstitutional by the defense. Hunter Biden's struggles with substance abuse, exacerbated by the death of his brother Beau Biden in 2015, are detailed in court documents and his memoir, Beautiful Things, which chronicles his journey to sobriety in 2019. Despite these challenges, prosecutors revealed that his gross income totaled $7 million between 2016 and 2020, stemming from his roles on the board of the Ukrainian energy company Burisma and a Chinese private equity, along with his position at a law firm. The California grand jury indictment adds to the complexities of Hunter Biden's legal battles, with the defense planning to contest the charges while the political implications continue to ripple through the ongoing investigations and potential impeachment inquiries. The saga underscores the intersection of legal, political, and familial dynamics as the case unfolds amidst the backdrop of the 2024 election.
Okay.
I don't think the TD hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you got to say on that, Shabaka?
Okay, hook and book his ass. You know what I'm saying? In California, there's a place called Terminal Island, federal penitentiary out there by Wilmington. Throw the motherfucker in there, have him walk the concrete, do his fucking time, like what they'll do the rest of us. No punk city, no protective custody. Just like that bitch George Santos. The hell, make George Santos and Hayden Biden cellmates.
Caramel cup. That's does.
I don't know how I'm getting ads, but okay.
Yeah, have Hayden Biden and Santos walk the concrete together. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here at 5, actor Terrence Howard has a civil suit against Creative Artists Agency.
Oh, that's the next topic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If his name was anything but Biden, he would definitely already been serving time. So
Yeah, exactly. You know it, and I know it, and he knows it.
we got no
And this
clue.
motherfucker had a tax delinquency of $7 million.
Yes, $7 million tax delinquency. Yes. I feel nothing.
Well, okay, if these bastards had any type of capacity, what they would, what they would do with that money, they should take that money that they're going to get from that trick, right? Okay, and give it to the black community. Mm-hmm. Get our people out this poverty, particularly now that winter is here. Ain't no telling how many of our people freeze to death in Harlem, Roxbury area of Boston, Baltimore, Maryland, where Brother Isaiah is, Chicago, Illinois, Cleveland, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And what have you, Buffalo, New York. You see? And what they need to do when them motherfuckers, man, that's one way, man, to cut the goddamn check, okay? Put all that money that them sons of bitches owe back into the reparations fund. And we ain't tolerating no Joe Gibson type of motherfuckers. We ain't tolerating, well, can't we just all get along? We all look the same. No, motherfucker, we don't. Bring your ass out here to Las Vegas, I'm saying about 6 months, on the first day of summer. And I can show you of how we are not the same.
Right, but is that it for Hayden Biden Jr.?
Yes, sir. Yeah, he needs to go to prison. He needs to walk the concrete. Because he did all that shit there because of who he is. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Freedom. To quote the queen, words of the Queen Mother, I ain't never been free. But you letting this motherfucker walk around scot-free. It was probably some of his shit that they picked up at the White House, because you remember at the White House they discovered some shit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm willing to bet that's Hayden Biden Jr. or Hunter Biden. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, take away his Secret Service protection. Yep. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. But all you motherfuckers went out there and voted for that trick because You couldn't take the
Anybody
heat
who
from
said
the dump, as in human shit. And all of them went out there and voted for
as a human,
dump, as in human shit. And I want to make that perfectly clear. Okay. Well, when I say that, okay, because he is a sack of shit. No, I'm President Trump, and I don't have to pay no taxes. See, and I can go out there and do all kind of crooked shit and not be held accountable for. But you stupid motherfuckers elected me because Trump said about 10 years before he ran for office, he stated the following: that if I ever run for as a presidential candidate, I would run as a Republican because the Republican Party is a group of the most stupidest motherfuckers who will go for anything. And I'm paraphrasing Trump. Those aren't my words. So I'm paraphrasing the dump as in human shit. And I want to make that perfectly clear.
when he said there was a
Okay.
lot of
And then the
people in politics.
say what now?
That's when he said there was a lot of stupid people in politics.
Oh yeah. The dump. Yeah, he said that during the Slick Willie administration. Yeah, where it shows the dump as in human shit. And I want to make that perfectly clear. Where he was at a cocktail party, looked like he was loaded. You know what I'm saying? And there wasn't no alcohol either. Okay. And that's when he went on and made that statement. And the shit that came out of his mouth to say that does sound like some motherfucker who's been using some type of shit. You know it, I know it, the American people know it, and he knows it. Yeah, and to hell with the dump, as in human shit. So, tangibles, okay? We got to have our tangibles all the way from now to 2100. Also, too, just not getting off track right here, just a tidbit information. Sha'Carri Richardson, okay, the Olympic athlete, she will be going to the Paris Games next year. So, of course, we miss her. We wish her to get all the gold medals like FloJo did and what have you.
Yep. So moving on, Terrence Howard.
Yes, sir.
Doing, creative artist.
Yeah, Terrence Howard.
Broad over Empire.
Yeah, creative artist. Yeah, they're a casting agency out there. And I'm glad Mr. Terrence Howard is doing what he's doing. And what Mr. Howard is pretty much saying is fuck Hollywood and all its bullshit. And I ain't mad at him. You got to freeze up.
Can you see it?
Okay, hold on. All right, now this phone wants to trip with all this bullshit. Okay, let me put some eyes on right here. This is what happens when you become an old motherfucker now. Can't see a damn thing. Okay, all right. Oh, yeah, there's Terrence Howard standing there. He files a lawsuit against creative artists. Okay. Yeah, he's trying to get his money.
Claiming the agency failed to get the actor the proper compensation for his work on the hit TV series Empire.
Lawyers for Terrence Howard say that his CAA agents tricked Howard into believing he was being paid a fair salary to work on the show. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallwood has more on the lawsuit.
Mr. Howard, an Academy Award nominated actor for Best Actor, is here today to ask for justice.
Lawyers for actor Terrence Howard announcing a civil suit against Creative Artist Agency, or CA, compensation for his acting duties on the mega hit television series Empire. The show running from 2015 to 2020.
Mr. Howard will be filing a lawsuit based upon the duties of his agents that were simply failed time and time again.
Attorneys claim CAA duped Howard into believing that his salary was fair for his acting work on the show.
Mr. Howard was unaware that his self-dealing agent were providing him information that was just simply inaccurate. When he would ask them, please provide me with the comparisons so that I know exactly what compensation I should be receiving, they would give him comparisons that simply were not accurate, were misleading.
To look after me and looked after themselves. I can't say that this was a racial issue, but I cannot imagine that white actors that are comparable to the numbers and the accolades and the world recognition I have. I can't imagine that CAA would allow them to be misused and treated in the way that they allowed Fox to misuse me, to be paid the way that I was paid.
We've reached out to CAA for comment and have yet to hear back from them. The Cochran law firm saying the lawsuit does not include an amount for damages at this time. That will be determined at a later date. Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
I hope he sues the shit out of
ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe.
Right.
Yeah, I hope Mr. Howard is very successful in suing the motherfuckers. Yep, and the Golden Globes Awards is, huh?
I said I agree with you, Shabaka, and then stupid ass Grammys was tonight. I didn't watch that shit.
Man, fuck the Grammys, man. You know, fuck all those award shows that they're doing down there in Hollywood, because it ain't nothing but a great big ass commercial for their bullshit. That's all it is a commercial.
Yeah. Cold piece. Yeah, so yeah, best of luck, Howard. Sue the hell out them bastards.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, on our public service announcement, you know, PSA, you know. And PSA, believe it or not, used to be a name of an airline.
So next So next topic is New York Mayor Eric Adams goes to Biden for the 10th time, begging for help with the migrants.
Yeah, sitting at a lunch counter begging for a cup of coffee.
This is after he said we can need.
Everything is a Democrat's fault because black.
Oh yeah, Dr. Phil. Yeah.
Shout out to Uncle Phil. He's gonna give us an update on Eric Adams goes to Biden for 10th time begging for help with migrants.
Black folks been voting
that is bad.
Over years. So yeah, I can surely tie in everything that happened to black folks. They go right back to the Democrat Party. You know, I'm skilled enough to do it. Now, this migrant crisis was an issue during the Trump administration because Trump kept they behind in Mexico.
Yeah.
He said, you remain over there, and if we let you over here, after we process you and all that, then we'll let you over here, right? But the moment Biden got into office, it became a free-for-all. It's a free-for-all because that's what the Democrats want. That's what Biden wants. You talk about what's happening in Chicago. Brandon Johnson, instead of him being a doggone man about the situation and talking about Greg Abbott. Once again, let's talk about Greg Abbott. I live in the state of Texas. That's governor of my state. What has happened for decades is that people have been just coming and flooding the state of Texas. During the Biden administration, it became too much. So what they decided to do here in Texas was come up with a plan called Operation Lone Star. And Operation Lone Star will shift them to Democrat cities and say they're sanctuary cities. This is what they say. They say they're sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities mean they will not cooperate with any kind of immigration, to detain them, ICE, nobody. They're not cooperating. But they will cooperate all day if it has something to do with a black man or a black woman. But when it comes to them, they're not going to cooperate. That is illegal. That is, to me, conspiracy to harbor illegal foreign nationals when they do not belong in this country. And those governors and city council or aldermen or whatever else that signed on to that, they need to be held accountable. That's just how I feel about that. You're obstructing justice. That is a crime. But they don't go after these people as they should. Trump get in there, it could happen, right? That's why they don't want Trump back. So Governor Greg Abbott decided to put them on buses, and they had to sign and say they were really going. They wouldn't be forced to go. And they say what city they want to go to. They can go to New York, they can go to Chicago, Washington, D.C., some go to Denver. Wherever these sanctuary cities are located, some are going to Los Angeles, and they're going to these different places, right? So Brandon Johnson in Chicago, he wants to blame Greg Abbott. But the issue isn't Greg Abbott, the issue is President Joe Biden. The issue is the Democrat Party. He literally has an open border. This is not secure, and no nation on earth have their borders just wide open like this. Right. Even Latin American countries don't want their borders just wide open. Every time I have traveled to many countries, even African countries, I follow their rules about getting a visa before and then entering the country. I didn't sneak around. I didn't do what I wanted to do because everybody has their rules and their laws. But with this guy in office, Biden, he just throws laws away our border. Now, New York has been dealing with the migrant crisis as well. And the type of migrants in New York right now, they are hostile. As we covered on the Black Congregation channel, they're out here tricking. They're out here committing crimes, all in New York. At least the ones in Chicago, they are committing crimes out there too. But they get a little bit more rowdy in New York than they are in Chicago. Well, so Mayor Eric Adams, whether you like him or not, he's been the only black mayor that I have seen that actually said something and stood up and say, hey, Biden, what's going on? Hey, this migrant crisis is going to destroy New York. And he's right. The majority of the homeless people in New York City is Black American people. And that is in itself wrong. But to prioritize all the resources to this migrant crisis, putting up these migrants, the Row Hotel, and I know exactly where the Row Hotel at. I've passed by it many times where I've been in New York. I think that's atrocious to be putting them down there in Manhattan. And why are you doing that? That you're going to turn off tourists right then and there to see all this calamity that's going on. In one of your biggest tourist areas is the Times Square area. Now, recently, Mayor Eric Adams decided to go back to D.C. because, before he was going to D.C., then he was getting his campaign finance lady got raided by the feds. He's been having some trouble. And so he turned right back around and came back to New York to deal with that situation. Well, now Eric Adams wanted to go back to D.C., go talk to people in Congress, go talk to Biden and them to see what could be done for New York. Well, I want you to watch these two videos.
New York is headed to Washington, D.C. This is to meet with government officials, congressional leaders, and just really send a strong message. We need help. And clear New Yorkers are angry. I'm angry. I know that we should not be using our tax dollars on a national problem, and I'm going to voice my concerns of this happening to the city that I love and the city that you love. I keep loving you. We did not walk out from DC with any level of optimism that anything is going to drastically change. It is clear that for the time being, this crisis is going to be carried by the cities. Here in New York City, as you know, we had a very painful November plan that we had to produce, and now we're looking forward on the direction of how do we address the $7 billion budget deficit that we have to address in January.
So you heard Mayor Eric Adams said that there was his 10th times going to D.C. to say something to his fellow Democrats about, hey, what are you going to do about this migrant crisis? We need federal funds. And he's come back, as you heard, empty-handed for the 10th time. He says that he's angry about it, which I believe he is. He said New Yorkers are angry about it. Oh, you better believe they are. And Biden hasn't done anything about it. Like, at least he could have sent federal funds to help Brandon Johnson, to help Eric Adams, if he want to keep an open border policy, if he wants to keep having Sanctuary City going, at least he should be sending the funding for it, right? But they're leaving, and I think that's very interesting, these black mayors, whatever you say about Brandon Johnson, whatever you say about Eric Adams, they kind of set them up to fail. If you really think about it, take away the migrant crisis away from Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson, we really wouldn't be talking about them right now. Yeah. Just think about that. Outside of the migrant crisis, Brandon Johnson really hasn't done nothing I can say. Now, maybe, I don't live in Chicago, but just from a national perspective, he hasn't done nothing I can say he's been doing this prior to this. You know what I'm saying? So Brandon Johnson is trying to toe the Democrat line and not being assisted. Then you got Eric Adams in New York. He's going to D.C. for help. His own governor, not a situation, and he got both of those mayors in trouble. Everybody's upset with them because they blame them for the migrant crisis. Now, I like I said, I give more respect to Mayor Eric Adams because at least he's out here saying really what it is. Yeah. It isn't a problem. He at least went down there to try to see what was up. I'll give him that much. Brandon Johnson was supposed to go, but he changed his mind.
He went down to Columbia too.
So the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is Biden and the Democrats. If you are in Chicago, and I know you upset with Brandon Johnson, at the end of the day, it is Biden and the Democrat Party policy that has created that problem in Chicago. It is Biden and the Democrats and their policies that's created that problem in New York. I'm not trying to defend Mayor Brandon Johnson. I'm not trying to even defend Eric Adams, but I gotta just be truthful. I personally don't think it's fair what has happened to both of those men. Mm-hmm. Even though I disagree on their political views, I've criticized both of those men, but I also think, with being fair. and saying that they were given something they really didn't sign up for when they became mayors of Chicago, mayor of New York. Just keeping it 100 with you. New York in itself needs to be working on itself. New York needs to clean itself up completely. Now, the one thing that he's recently done, Eric Adams, that Brandon Johnson didn't do, that kind of made people upset. You're trying to literally charge people to drive on the roads. Like, I don't know if y'all heard that in New York, they're about to charge people for literally driving on the road, charging people fees and tolls and all that for streets and everything they paid for. Now, I don't know if they're coming up with this mess to try to make up money because of this migrant crisis, but that's not it. Eric Adams' brother, you need to drop that mess because you're going to have a problem on your hands with New Yorkers with that. That is wrong. I mean, if anybody needs to get out there and pay for something, it needs to be them doggone migrants need to get out there and work and go pay for something. The taxpayers are literally getting their budget slashed, like he's talked about. People are going to lose their jobs. That's going to happen. Libraries going to have to close days they should not be closing. A lot of money is being lost to the citizens of New York to deal with Joe Biden's migrant crisis. Because it is this migrant crisis. Because Joe Biden and the Democrats created that problem. A lot of times y'all don't watch footage from the border, but I want y'all to check it out. Look at this footage I'm about to show you. This comes from Fox News. I want you to see all these people lined up at the border to get in. Look at this.
Numbers are actually getting even worse. Multiple CBP sources telling me this morning in the last 24 hours, Border Patrol alone has made more than 10,000 apprehensions of illegal immigrants. That does not even include CBP ports of entry. And you can see the situation here in Lukeville behind us. We got well over 800 people waiting in line here after they crossed it illegally overnight, waiting to be apprehended by Border Patrol. Once again, it's like deja vu from yesterday. You can see these guys are coming in from all over the world, a lot of African men, mostly single adult men here. Some of them were setting campfires overnight in the cold, camping out here, waiting to get taken into custody by Border Patrol. But CBP sources telling me in the last 24 hours in this Tucson, Arizona sector, there were almost 2,900 apprehensions, and the Border Patrol facilities out here are currently running 200% of their capacity yesterday. Take a look at this. We showed you these images yesterday of illegal immigrants pushing through a breach in the border wall that had been cut through by smugglers. This happened.
Look at that shit,
Been right in front of Border Patrol. All these people came spilling through the wall trying to take advantage of the situation. Then a human smuggler looks at our camera, gives us a shrug, and salutes us. Well, GOP presidential candidate, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, reacted to that video. He posted a tweet which says,
all those military-age men lined up to get into this country. Not a bunch of women and children, a bunch of military-age men. Then you saw the cartel member, he just sit up here and kind of wave and everything at the camera. So we have no security at the border at all. The cartel can cut fences and do whatever they want to do with no repercussion. None. We don't have leadership. We don't have it, ladies and gentlemen. You literally having this man have our country defenseless, literally. Anybody named Mama can walk across that border right now and do whatever they want to do. You don't know if any of those men are military groups. You don't know anything. Posing themselves, I just want to come here and work. Why you go work in your homeland? Your homeland got a lot of stuff you can go do. Or go to the next country over. Why are you coming flying way from overseas across the Atlantic to come over here? No, they're being told to come over here because they're being incentivized to come over here. We got to, as a people, like I said, not just as Black Americans, but just, I say it's all Americans in this one. We got to get this guy out. He got to go. If you sit up there and go vote for this man to get back in office again, I'm telling you, you're not going to have one. Part of having a country means you have borders, you have sovereignty. This man is literally just knocked down our borders, and anybody named mama can just come over here anytime get good and ready. They don't have to go through no rules. They don't have to pay anything. They can just show up. We have a housing crisis even as it is now. We don't have houses for American citizens. And you mean to tell me that housing crisis on top of the other inflation, other crap we got going on in the country, you're going to bring in the whole world into this country? Because you're not bringing in the top of the top people. You're bringing in people from all over the place. The American citizens' responsibility to take care of people telling me they want to work. You got American citizens right here that need to work. It's enough these politicians in this country shipped off all the manufacturing jobs to China, Vietnam, and all these other places like that. But you be putting a lot of citizens to work, but they bringing these people in so they can work low-skilled labor, and then what they can't do, AI is going to be doing, taking away more jobs. And we don't know if these people will be used to create civil unrest. We don't know who these people are and why. We already know what the Democrats want to do. But the Democrats and what they're doing isn't democracy. Because then, quote unquote, democracy, the people have a voice. And the people say, we don't want this. What are you doing? Close the border, shut it down. We need to put a pause on the American border. You can't come through land. No more. No more. Only people that should be able to come in here is trucks that's bringing, goods and services and things like that. All that driving up and out, in and out of here, no, that should just stop. Like, you want to leave, you fly on this southern border. No more coming, nobody walking up, nobody, no. Get you an airplane. Some people on the border of Texas, some of them do work in Mexico on the border towns, but the border towns are very dangerous right now. But some of them do that. Okay, well then you need to go through them, and then you can walk across if you're an American citizen and come back. But anybody else, you're not an American citizen, no. You need to fly your behind in and out that way, because think about it. Majority of people that flying in, I know people overstay their visa, but you know what? You can find them a whole lot faster. Because you know who they are. You got their name, you got where they come from. A lot of these people just coming across, they're barely processing them. Why are they coming here? There's many other countries they can go to. They want to work, right? But they have heard that Biden and the Democrats giving a free for all, and they say screw the American people. Now I was talking to my barber today. We were talking about the election, and he said, I'm just so sick and tired of the whole thing. I ain't nobody. I'm sitting it out. I said, okay. I said, a lot of people saying that. I talked to another brother. He said the exact same thing. But I asked him. I said, are you registered to vote? Though he said, no, I'm not registered to vote. I ain't vote for nobody. I said, no, my brother, no. I said, you need to register to vote. You can do it online. I said, let me tell you why you need to register to vote. Even though you're going to sit it out, you still need to be registered to vote. I said, because it could be somebody local that you may vote for in that election for some reason. I say it could be, you want to vote for, maybe a judge. You may want to vote for a particular prosecutor. You may want to vote for somebody on the city council, somebody on the education board, or whatever, right? Your local politician. If you know what I'm saying, say you're a business owner. So let's say you getting in good with the local politicians, certain ones that's making sure you're taken care of, or they pointing you with some government money at. They putting some paper in your pocket as a business owner. But shoot, you want to go reward them with a vote, right? I say, you as a business owner, you got to do that sometime. I say, another reason why you want to make sure you are registered to vote. And I told them, I said, I teach all my people, get registered to vote. If you're not registered to vote, get registered to vote today. It's because when they quantify these numbers in this next election, they're going to look at how many registered voters they had, how many actually voted and actually how many sat it out. You want them to know that you sat it out. So let's just give like a something easy. If there's 10,000 registered voters and only 2,000 people voted, that means 80% of the voters sat it out. That's going to be a big discussion that people sat it out. On top of looking at actually who voted, what you know, gender, what race, with all that, all of those need to be quantified. So you talking about I'm just gonna sit out, ain't voting for nobody. That's cool, do you? But just be registered to vote. Like I told him, I know you got that, brother. I know you got a driver's license. I didn't even know you got your passport. But we gotta be registered to vote. Because there's a time to sit it out, and then there's a time that we need to give for somebody, sometime to get somebody else out. So we need to be all registered to vote, so just in case we need to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you say you love America, and you say you're not going nowhere, especially some of you people like that, so you ain't going nowhere, well, at least you need to be involved in your politics.
Right.
Because even like I said, I always talk about what Julius Malema said. He said, if you're going to be in the EFF in South Africa and you're not registered to vote, you're going to get kicked out. I said, what are you if we all can't go vote as a party for ourselves or anything else we need to vote for? He's 100% right. You must be engaged in your politics in the country that you're living in.
Right.
If you want to be engaged or even disengaged, at least you can go engage when you feel like you need to. Because you know, my barber was saying, like, you know, I'll come out to vote. There's something like somebody like that, man, I can really believe in. Man, I come out there, you know, somebody really gonna change this thing up and make it fair and do what they supposed to. Man, I come out there, and that's what, you know, the brother I was talking to, same thing. I said, and we got to get to that point, possibly, right? Maybe I think it would take another a real black leader to do it, a black president. That's the only one I think a person can do it at this stage in the game. And I know I talk about how, well, you know, policy over color and all that stuff, and I'm 100% right on that. But I remember when Obama came in, America felt like they with him. Obama, you know, he saved America from himself with the housing crisis. I give Obama that. I just Obama situation. No, he actually turned America around on that. I give Obama that. Like I said, I don't have to like you, but I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to give you credit. I wish he would actually have built on that, built a good legacy with his people. Instead of all that shoe shining that he was doing when he was in office. He could have been the greatest president that ever been in America. He could have been that person. And he chose not to. But when Trump got in that day one, Trump was doing whatever he wanted to do. And because of Trump doing that, Trump even changed the game from the presidents, because now you can't say you do, because Trump showed you could. But this migrant crisis that you're dealing with, this is a creation of the Democrat Party and Joe Biden. It is a creation. I cannot, if you go out there and Democrat in 2024, you're voting for more migrants showing up at the border. 800. Do you know they recorded the other day 12,000 migrants coming through the border? 12,000. That's like a freaking standing army. So a platoon of men is showing up at the border. And they already causing problems. They already committing crimes. We are going to be in so much. Listen, Joe Biden, even if you vote him out of office 2024, he has done so much damage to this country. So much damage economically. He's done damage with foreign relations. He's done so much damage. That's why I don't hear nobody talk to me about no doggone Biden. I don't want to hear it because he just messed up big time. Then he ain't got his son out here all kind of indictments and all kind of things he was doing. I read he got indicted in California. He was just tricking off drug money. He was spending, they say, almost $1 million on women and prostitutes. I mean, this dude was a straight deviant. This Hunter Biden dude, his son. What he needs to do is maybe he needs to go ahead and step down, let Kamala go ahead and finish out the term, and deal with his son. Because, like, seriously, I even said it, to people before. Listen, Kamala, but at least Kamala is a little coherent. At least she can answer questions. At least you can go back and forth with Kamala about something. I mean, Biden, like I said, I'm telling you, this dude is ruining this doggone country. And whenever I tell Black America, you go vote for Biden if you want to, you're done. Completely done in this country. I'm telling you. It's about here. You done passed out on us. What's cracking, Jay Millie?
No, I'm here still. Okay, what's Jay saying?
I'm gonna drop the link. I missed that though, like 20 minutes ago.
Well, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here at Front Line Blacc News, we do put a lot of time in researching our stories and material here. Definitely donate, to our platform. I believe Brother Chan Krumah has a link to put up there to finance Black News First.
Yeah, so we just finished up with Eric Adams.
Oh, yeah.
Was begging the Democrats for help for the migrants.
It's very, very interesting. You see, these sellout ass coons like that son of a bitch you just mentioned, does everything for every other group except his own people. Now, watch how they abandon his ignorant black ass. You know what I'm saying? Just for being stupid. That ain't no bullshit.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna help that trick for nothing. And the part that really pisses me off and pisses us all off is that we go out here, man, even with Obama, we go out here and put in all this energy, work, and effort and whatnot. See, and then look how we get, paid for it or repaid for it. Obama, America's president, except his own people. You see, and then it's very interesting when OTBs run for political office. They sit up there, lie to the black community again and again and again and again. You know what I'm saying? And then they go up there and serve their own selfish ways. And then they come to us again, talking about Oh, well, you know, we need your support again and all this old type of shit.
Yeah, they used
You
to
know, it's
support
crazy.
value, and then they abandon us in our time of need.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And say, and they abandoned us big time. You know, then these ignorant, brain dead motherfuckers. Well, you know, I don't see color. I mean, young goddamn people is out there, you know, living in a fucking street in sub-zero fucking weather. Okay. Oh, I don't see color. The police department agencies, where a lot of you are chief executives of said municipalities. Oh no, it wasn't a racial thing. And even old Uncle Tom Bradley, the mayor of Los Angeles, when the party went down on April the 30th, 1992, he didn't cuss out the black community, you know, and he didn't have no power anyway, you know. So hey, uh, you know, what does he care for, you know?
Yeah, I just find it really hilarious, especially after he said we could take them all. We welcome them. We welcome the migrants. And 6 months later, oh no, we can't do this no more. Big
Yeah, he's overwhelmed. Yeah. And like what old Governor Bud of Texas does, he let the motherfuckers come there, put them on a bus, drop them off in the Democratic cities.
Yeah. In the so-called sanctuary cities like I got.
And Oakland. Sick. San Francisco too. You know.
Yeah.
You know, with sanctuary city.
Eric Adams'
Okay,
rate
but
at all-time low.
Good. Hopefully it goes to 0.
And you'll never guess who he's blaming for this.
Who is that?
We will soon find out.
Okay.
Is that J? Hold on, we got a comment.
All right.
Oh, it's Kelly. Says, what up,
What's
Shay?
Kelly talking about?
I'm super proud of Chicago at this point. Someone finally got the balls. I tried to warn everyone before it happened. I knew they were going to put illegals first.
All right.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. I want to thank.
Is the video playing, Shabaka?
It was. Nope.
You all for joining me today.
Oh, there we go.
Someone in the live chat very quickly. Shout out to O Francisco. O Francisco said, TD, come on, bruh. We TD Media now. Just kidding. I'm here. They had we TD Media Group now, but the 5-minute window is still in effect. The 5-minute grace period is still in effect. So technically, O Francisco, I am on time. Okay, because the 5-minute window is definitely still in effect. But thank you all for joining me today. Today's going to be a great stream. I'm a little bit under the weather. Maybe you all can tell that my voice is a bit hoarse. So we're going to power through this anyways, though. So I'm just going to try to keep myself under control my voice so I don't lose it midstream, and try to preserve my energy a bit. But let's get rocking. If you can see and hear me clearly, which I believe that you...
Fast forward a little bit. Get to the titles of it.
And then lastly, we can't remember, and this is really the icing on the cake, on Thanksgiving, Eric Adams was served up with an SA lawsuit, to which he has gone on many news outlets claiming that he does not know this woman. He doesn't know who this woman is that filed this SA lawsuit against him. But that's the icing on the cake, and that's how we've seen everything transpire, right? So with that being said, it's no shocker to me, and I'll pull this article up very quickly and we'll get into it. It's no shocker to me that Adams' approval rating sinks to lowest for any NYC mayor since 1996. Let's get into this very quickly, because by the time we get to the end of it, we're going to see who Eric Adams actually blamed for why his approval rating is so low. And I think we know where this is going and who he's going to put the blame of, he's going to lay the blame at, right? But let's jump into this article very quickly. This New York Times article reads as such. I'm going to go through maybe about 2 paragraphs very quickly. Mayor Eric Adams, who faces a federal investigation into his campaign fundraising and rampant criticism over his handling of the migrant crisis, has seen his approval rating plunge to 28%, according to a Quinnipiac University poll released on Wednesday. The approval rating, the lowest for any New York City mayor in Quinnipiac poll since it began surveying the city in 1996, reveals the extent of the political damage Mr. Adams has suffered in recent weeks. After the FBI seized his cell phone, a woman filed a claim accusing him of SA in 1993, and he had an unpopular budget cut, and he made unpopular budget cuts to the police, schools, and libraries. Roughly 58% of New Yorkers disapproved of Mayor Adams' job as mayor, and the dissatisfaction was nearly across the board. A majority of those polled said that the mayor did not have strong leadership qualities, did not understand their problems, and was not honest or trustworthy. And that not honest or trustworthy portion, I have that highlighted the way that I do, because that was what I spoke on frequently concerning the FBI investigations happening around so many people that were involved in his campaign. What that was meant to do is cast a cloud of doubt around Eric Adams and around everyone that surrounds his orbit and that is in his inner circle, which then puts into question his character just as a man, his morality, right, his integrity. That's all in question now because of that investigation that's occurring. So now what I want to do quickly also as well is I want to jump into another article, because one other thing that I haven't made mention of and that has happened and that I haven't spoken on yet is that he has actually even now lost his emergency powers as it pertains to how he can use funds concerning the migrant crisis in New York City. Let's get into that article very quickly as well. And this comes from Fox 5 New York. NYC Comptroller Brad Lander strips Mayor Adams of emergency migrant spending power. Let's jump into this really quick, because this is all the things that are compiling one after another. Eric Adams is just continuously getting hit over the head with one issue after another. And now at this point, as we're going to see in this article that he says himself, at this point, they're tying Eric Adams' hands concerning his ability to spend money surrounding the migrant crisis in New York City. Let's jump into this. It shouldn't take too long. New York City Comptroller Brad Lander says that his office has stripped Mayor Eric Adams' emergency powers that allow him to make deals with contractors for migrant services without prior approval. There's just too many holes in the way that City Hall was using that blanket permission, Comptroller Lander said. Lander pointed to a series of missteps, saying that the mayor's office failed to report subcontractors in certain cases and at times was late in submitting contracts. The mayor's administration says this is going to cause significant delays. This is an emergency that requires emergency spending, Deputy Mayor of Communications Fabian Levy said. We don't know how many migrants Texas will send over. How many Texas, excuse me, we don't know how many migrants Texas will send over or whoever else. And this right here is a direct quote from Eric Adams, given everything that's happened and how now his hands are tied concerning his spending and how now he's not able to spend at will concerning the migrant crisis, but now he has to essentially seek permission and get an approval for every dollar that he's going to spend. Mayor Eric Adams stated this, and I found it very interesting. He went to DC 20 months later. I'm going to repeat that again. He went to DC 20 months later and came back trying to tie our hands, Adams said. It sort of defies logic to me. I find it very interesting that this man, Mr. Landers, the comptroller, after his visit to DC, came back and then tied Eric Adams' hands. I wonder who gave the comptroller that idea. I wonder who the comptroller spoke to when he was in DC, how the discussion went, and what made him come to the conclusion after coming back from DC that he was going to strip Eric Adams of his emergency spending powers. I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm just going to leave that question up to you guys to answer in the comments section below and in the live chat. But I find that very interesting that he went to DC, and when he came back from DC, all of a sudden, he stripped his emergency spending powers from Eric Adams, tying his hand. And there's the thing with that. Honestly, that's what they need to do in Chicago concerning Brandon Johnson. And it really with Eric, also J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois as well. There should be some sort of oversight in that way where before they're able to spend money, they have to actually get things approved. Because as we saw concerning the Brighton Park situation in Chicago, where there was an attempt to build a migrant facility on top of toxic ground, with that one particular situation, we're looking at $29 million completely gone into the trash, or I should say, gone into the pocket of the contractor that owns the company, right? Maybe if there was a mechanism in place like what has now been put in place for Eric Adams, if that was put in place concerning how Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker is allowed to spend money, maybe that wouldn't have been the case. But as we all know, and from the study that I read not too long ago, from I believe it was the University of Chicago, Chicago is considered the most corrupt political city in the country. It is considered the most corrupt government in the country. So we won't see that kind of accountability happening in Chicago anytime soon. But now what's interesting about all this, but also not too surprising, right, is that as all of this is transpiring, the progressive Democrats are smelling blood in the water. They're starting to smell blood in the water concerning their ability and their confidence to be able to take Eric Adams out during the 2025 mayoral race. And that's what this is all really all about. The DNC leadership does not want Eric Adams running the city anymore. He's too much of a loose cannon. He's unpredictable. He's hot and he's cold. And what they're looking for is more of a Brandon Johnson-esque type mayor to run the city. Someone who understands his assignment, just simply follows through with it, and doesn't kick up any dust and doesn't ask any questions. They're looking for a Brandon Johnson-esque type mayor who will just do what he's told. And as we've seen with Eric Adams throughout the course of this year, that's just not really Eric Adams' style, right? It hasn't been his style, especially if he feels like he's been stabbed in the back. So what I want to do now is get into this political article very quickly concerning not just the Democratic Party as it pertains to establishment Democrats, but the progressive Democrats as well. And what I found even more interesting concerning the progressive Democrats that are coming at Eric Adams, I've highlighted a few names, and I want you to see and think to yourself what these names have in common that you'll see highlighted in purple, who are speaking out so much against Eric Adams now, trying to remove him from his position, right? So before we get into that, there are currently 215 of you all in the live stream right now. If you haven't, please hit that like button. That is extremely important and the most important thing that you can do for me on this channel. Please hit the like button and share this video out if you haven't already, and we can carry on with the show and get into the political article next. So give me just a moment while I pull up that political article for you all. I'm going to get that for you right now. And here we go. New York's lefties revved up by Eric Adams' plummeting poll numbers. Let's jump in to this article. And it reads as such. The political left is ready to the political left is ready to pounce on the moderate mayor, emboldened by a new poll that reveals Adams' weaknesses. Some liberals are casting about for a viable challenger to Adams in 2025. Others are preparing for a more immediate battle against his local budget cuts. Both groups see an opening. Let me change this very quickly. The opening has become wider and wider. Anna Maria Archila. I'm going to read her name again. Anna Maria Archila, co-director of the New York Working Families Party, said in an interview, back in early October, our thought was this is still an incumbent, strong, popular enough. But the last several weeks have shown that this mayor is not only strong, but not popular. He might not be the mayor for his whole term. I'm going to read that last sentence again. But the last several weeks have shown that this mayor is not only not strong and not popular, but he might not be the mayor for his whole term. I found that very interesting that Anna Maria would make a statement such as that. And I'm assuming that what she means by that is that as these federal investigations are taking place, and it's still happening, it's just not in the mainstream media the way it once was about a week or two ago. But as these investigations are taking place, I think what Anna Maria is looking forward to is Eric Adams getting indicted. Because once he gets indicted, there is a strong possibility that he'll most likely step down. That's why she made the kind of comments that she made. Remember that name, Anna Maria, and we're going to see what her name and a few others have in common as we continue on. So let me jump back into this article and let's keep reading, right? The mayor finds himself weakened at a time when the left-leaning Working Families Party is reorganizing under new leaders, Archila and Jasmine Griper. And any new challenge from the left would seek to undermine a mayor who dubbed himself the new face of the Democratic Party upon winning the election in 2021. I had no idea that Mayor Eric wants to dubb himself the new face of the Democratic Party. Now, I'm not surprised because Eric Adams is actually very confident in himself, to say that the very least. You know, I won't say he's arrogant, but he's very confident in himself, to say the very least. So I'm not surprised, but how things have changed. He's gone from being the self-proclaimed face of the Democratic Party to now being public enemy number one of the Democratic Party. This was a man who once called himself the Biden of Brooklyn, and now him and Joe Biden don't even have a relationship anymore. How things change, and they change quickly. While Adams, a former NYPD captain, has sought to prioritize crime fighting during his tenure, left-leaning critics like City Council member Tiffany Caban have condemned him over rising costs in the expensive city. Adams in Washington on Thursday to urge more federal aid for the migrant crisis, pointed the finger at President Joe Biden's administration. I told you all, Eric Adams is back on that BS. He's back at it. He went back to Washington and doing the right thing, placing the proper blame at the feet of Joe Biden, which, you know, the migrant crisis is his fault. And New York has fallen apart the way that it did because Joe Biden just simply won't help Eric Adams out and give him the proper funding. So I'm going to read that sentence one more time as we dive back into this article. Adams in Washington on Thursday, to urge more federal aid from the migrant crisis, pointed the finger at President Joe Biden's administration. Adams and Biden's once warm relationship is now in a deep freeze as the mayor maintains the White House. As the mayor maintains, the White House has left the city to handle the migrant surge on its own, which Joe Biden did. It's clear that you can just see the poll numbers, Adams told reporters at the Capitol. Our national government has taken a toll on New York City. New Yorkers are, and I've joined the anger. So as you can see, he's clearly blaming his low polling numbers on Joe Biden, which, you know, I would blame Biden if I was him and the DNC leadership team as a whole. But Adams, liberal critics but Adams' liberal critics want the blame for reduced city services pinned squarely on him, as they less to take him on. This is the moment for us to begin to hone in on our message, get really tight on our message. City Council member Cameron De La Rosa said in an interview. And I think that message is that these cuts are not only, in our opinion, going to be devastating, but is also unnecessary to so deeply cut public education in New York City. Now, I want to pause for a moment. Let's pause for a moment as I've now gotten to this third thing. Between Cameron De La Rosa, Anna Maria Archilia, and Tiffany Caban, what do all these names have in common? Because if you were to go about reading this entire article for yourself, numerous names are written off. But there are a certain type of name that comes from a certain region in the world that speak a certain language, that their names you will read off the most as it pertains to critiques and attacks Eric Adams in their effort to take him down, right? And what I want to do right now is that I just want to go through who some of those people are and their names, and just where they're from, because I do believe it's relevant. I'm going to tell you why it's relevant in just a moment. But before I do that, thank you very much to a good brother and obviously a good friend of mine, Black White Revelations 2, also known as Rob. That's his government name. He said, hip hop mayor Adams forgot about Sean Paul's hit. Deport them. That's not a Sean Paul. Now you're going to have me lose my voice. That's a Sean Paul hit. Deport them. I don't know about all that. That's not that Sean Paul hit. Deport them, right? Bitcoin Key, you got it right. South of the border. They're all south of the border. Got to roll those R's. I'm going to roll those R's right now as I go back into. Let's get into very quick. Where these individuals are from. And because it is relevant, I'm going to explain why it's relevant in just a moment. I'm not just picking on folks. This is actually very relevant. So let's just dive into who these people are very quickly. We're not going to spend too much time on it. Here's Cameron De La Rosa. De La Rosa was born in the Dominican Republic, but came to New York City with her family at a very young age. And I'm sorry, Cameron De La Rosa. I got to roll my R's for you. I apologize. Anna Maria Archila was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia. At the age of 17, Archila moved to the United States. So she's from Colombia. And Tiffany Caban was born in Richmond Hill, Queens, to Puerto Rican parents. Now, if this isn't everything that Dr. Claude Anderson stated would happen in his great, what I call the great prophecy of Dr. Claude Anderson concerning how immigration will negatively impact the Black community politically, I don't know what is. I don't know what is, if this isn't a clear representation of that. And I'm looking to see, oh, I'm so mad that I don't have that video queued up because it would have been a perfect time to play it. But you remember what he said. You're going to see this huge influx of immigrants entering into the country from all over the world, Latin America and Asia, everybody coming from south of the border. And it was one thing when Black folks had to fight white people, right? And that was their only battle as it pertains to politics and things of that nature. But now you're going to have to fight back not only against the Mzungu, but you're going to have to fight back against the Hispanic community, as you see Eric Adams is going to have to do right now. You're going to fight back against the API community. And who Dr. Claude Anderson didn't factor in at the time, and I don't fault him for, but what he didn't factor in at the time is the LGBTQ element that you have to battle against, and is the women's rights element that you have to battle against. Now, just like you, I am not against the rights of these people at all whatsoever. But those elements that Dr. Claude Anderson left out do play a role in silencing the Black community. They do play a role in silencing the Black community because those two last groups that I just mentioned, concerning those who are concerned with women's rights, right, feminism, and the LGBT, oftentimes they're used against the Black community to silence us, because the moment you place somebody in power, let's say Karine Jean-Pierre. Karine Jean-Pierre, is that her name? Yeah, Karine Jean-Pierre, who's the, was it the Speaker of the House for Joe Biden? I believe she's also an LGBTQ woman. You can't have any critiques of her, right? The moment you or I have any critique of her, someone like myself, you know, you can't say that I'm being racist, as you'd be able to say for a white conservative, but you can quickly turn around and say, oh, you know what? TD's being sexist, or he's being homophobic. And this is how that's constantly used against us. And there's a multitude of other examples in which it's used against us as well, but I don't want to go too deep down that rabbit hole right now, right? I want to just keep things right back where they need to be concerning Eric Adams, right?
Viewers.
But that's what's happening right now. Everything that Dr. Claude Anderson said about all these battles that you'd have to fight from all these different groups of people, once this mass influx of immigration started to happen, is coming to light. That's what we're seeing happening right now. And once again, I'm not picking on anybody. I just think that this is very relevant. Let's just even look at Chicago with Alderman Ramirez Rosa, who physically put his hands on, allegedly, I assume, who physically put his hands on, at least that's how it appeared on camera, Emma Mitz. Was it a 70-something-year-old alderwoman? Preventing her from going into the chambers so that the aldermen and women who wanted to cast a vote on placing the referendum of having the sanctuary city status go up on the ballot in the Chicago primaries in 2024, so that the people can decide whether or not they want the city to remain a sanctuary city. Ramirez Rosa was the one who allegedly, at least as it appeared on video, grabbed this elderly woman, Ella Mitz, preventing her from going in. And not only that, when he went into the chamber himself, or I believe as he stood outside, but others were walking in, the men at least, because he wasn't stupid enough to put his hand on any men. But the men who were walking in, he was threatening to sabotage their projects that they have lined up for their districts. The districts, the Black districts that these aldermen and women represent, Ramirez Rosa was going to sabotage these aldermen's plan for those districts if they dare walk in and attempted to cast a vote. You saw this man literally stand in the way of democracy, and mainstream media, at least the DNC media, was hush-hush about it. They were very quiet. They pretended like it didn't happen. But not to go on too much of a tangent, I want to reel it back in. The point that I'm making is that I'm not picking on anybody, and I'm not picking on any group of people. But Dr. Claude Anderson's prophecy of what would happen with the mass influx of immigration coming into the country and the negative effects that it would have on the Black community, which you're now having to fight off so many different groups, are now coming to light. That's what's happening in this moment. So now let's get back into the political article. And then there's one more article that I want to get into, and then we're going to get on out of here for tonight. There are 340 of you all in a live stream right now. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's get back into this article, right? So coming back over here, as we found this article out, while the Working Families Party focuses on the 2024 House election, right? The much similar Jim Orwell's Liberal Democratic Club has been recruiting for a 2025 challenger to Adams. So everybody's on Adams' neck. An effort that its leaders said has recently intensified. We're talking to more people. Progressive activist Alan Roscoff said, people that really weren't considering running before. He floated former city comptroller Scott Stringer and Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso as a potential candidate. Left-leaning strategist Camila Rivera said, ensuring a truly united front, let me read that again. Left-leaning strategist Camila Rivera said, ensuring a truly united front needs to be the first step in confronting Adams. You're going to see a galvanizing of organizations, community groups, the party pushing back on the mayor, she said, adding the ideal candidate would know, adding that the ideal candidate would know it's never a choice between cutting public schools and housing the homeless. Once again, I'm going to leave the link to this article right now in the live chat, and hopefully I remember to put it in the description box below after the screen, to put it in the comment section after the stream is over. Go back, click on this link, and read this article. Go through all the names that you read off and pay attention to how many Reynosos and Rivieras and De La Rosas that you come across. If I'll say, if we're talking about out of 10 names named, what is that? At least half of them, if not a little more than half, 5 to 6, maybe even more. Let me count right now. This is a bit tedious, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 5 names. I probably read off about 8 to 10 names. And out of 8 to 10 names, half of them, if not potentially more, were all from south of the border. Once again, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just highlighting what Dr. Claude Anderson said would happen and how this is all now coming to pass. And in closing, I just want to jump into this article very quickly here, because many of you may know, but some of you may not know, that Eric Adams, I just actually read it in the last article, he took a trip to DC, but he didn't talk with Joe Biden. Not surprising, because they're not on speaking terms. He went to DC to have a conversation about getting some funds for the migrant crisis over to New York, and this is how everything played out. Mayor Eric Adams painted a grim picture Friday on his trip to Washington, D.C., where he sought more financial help from the governing migrant crisis in New York City. Adams met with congressional leaders and members of the Biden administration on Thursday. The mayor says Washington should help cover the cost of housing hundreds of thousands of migrants. However, he said he left the meeting, and I quote, with the cold reality that help is not on the way. Let me zoom into that. The mayor says Washington should help cover the cost of housing hundreds of thousands of migrants. However, he said he left the meetings with the cold reality that help is not on the way. We did not walk out from DC with any level of optimism that anything is going to drastically change, Adams said. It is clear that for the time being, this crisis is going to be carried by the cities. He went on to say that help is not on the way in the immediate future.
Wow.
And that was probably, if you combine this statement that he's making on top of what the comptroller of New York City, he took a trip to DC, came back and tied Eric Adams' hand and took away his emergency spending power. This is all lining up as retaliation, as far as I'm concerned, from the Biden administration and DNC leadership for Eric Adams stepping out of bounds and laying the proper blame at the feet of Joe Biden concerning who's at fault for creating this migrant crisis. The article continues to read, "This is not the budget we wanted to pass," he said. "We are at an unattainable situation right now. It is painful for us. It is painful for the city. And I think you see it beginning to reflect in the polls. It is because our federal government's actions have taken a toll from the people of our city." Once again, he's blaming Biden for his polling numbers. And to be honest with you, I have to agree with him. Because once again, how everything has transpired over the past year, what we've really been looking at, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, is nonstop retaliation towards Eric Adams. And I believe that as we continue on and things move forward in between now and 2025, we're going to keep seeing this retaliation towards Eric Adams. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this all ultimately plays out. And if he even, in fact, gets indicted concerning funny money in his campaign funding. We'll see how that all plays out. And with all that being said, that does it for today's stream. I can't wait to...
Thank you to hip hop for that. So things are not looking good for Eric Adams, y'all. Come on in. Let's check on Shabaka.
Well, what's going on? Yeah, I'm still here with you out here in the west, out in the middle of nowhere. In the desert, some sun's supposed to be coming in. So, we shouldn't have too bad of a show. So, ladies and gentlemen, practice and first and thing.
What you talking about?
You're sleepwalking on us, goddammit. What are your thoughts on Eric Adams?
It's like, I'm sleeping in the desert of nowhere. Oh. You gotta let him out, Jesse.
Yeah.
Go ahead, just let him out. Do us a favor. What I think? I think Shabaka was out like a light, and there was no coming back. We're in the middle of nowhere, like you said. In his dreamland. He was like, "Good night." Peace.
Deacon's in the house.
Deacon's in the house. Yeah. Yeah, Deacon Shabaka was mad, sleeping right there. It's like, just like how I described it. He did exactly how I described it. Oh. I'll wrap your boy up and put him in a blanket. He's done. Yeah, the long day at the office. All right. What was I gonna say? Eric Adams, man. Eric Adams is fucked. This is retaliation. Yeah, it's too late now to do the right thing a little bit. Nobody gonna give a damn because it doesn't matter what the people say. Ultimately, they're gonna pick whoever they want to pick come election season. Yeah, New York gonna suffer, and then you can go ahead and lay that again at the feet of fucking Biden.
Mm-hmm.
I love Eric Adams. I keep playing this out. The more shit that happens in New York, the better, the worse the look is for Biden. So the more that the people suffer, that everybody starts, the economy starts to fall more and more due to the migrant crisis. They can't house no migrants. Migrants are fucking turning away charity. You know what I mean? To keep it real. They keep turning away charity. Hold on one second. Hold on a second. Just give me a second. Just keep talking.
Okay. So yeah. Deacon says facts. Yep, those are our facts. Yep. After he said we can take all the migrants in. Come on in. We could take them all. Yeah. 6 months later, no more immigrants, no more migrants. You can't take it no more. We're busting at the seams. And Sleepy Joe Biden is just like, so I'm gonna keep sending them your way. I'm gonna keep allowing Abbott and the panties send them your way. So shout out to all the viewers. Thank you for staying up with us late. So yeah, I have no pity for Eric Adams. He getting his end to Paul.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. I think that Eric like super swollen. I think that Eric Adams should keep playing this out. Like I said, the more crumbling and falling that all these sanctuary cities do, the worse it looks for Biden. Now you just need the border countries to really do some epic falling, because the border countries are the ones that have are open. But you don't hear as much as them talking about they're taking a hit versus the little towns and areas in the border cities. You know what I mean? So the border cities, the border towns and stuff like that, they need to be taking more massive hits than the sanctuary cities. So as soon as the states start to fall apart all around the edges, then they can crumble on the inside.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So all around the edges need to start taking massive economic fucking falls. Like major crime needs to rise. That doesn't need to rise up, but I mean, this is a really bad look if you think about it. Like all the bad things that you think are happening now need to happen at an epic level of like 10 in the red. That way he gets the understanding that he's fucked up. He's out. He can't possibly get elected again. I mean, like, who's gonna elect him to do this? You know what I mean? Like, who would elect him to do this? And then, not to mention, I mean, Trump isn't any better. You're talking about peaceful shit happening, or you might be talking about economics, maybe in a different way. But if you're talking about peace and no racial tension, I don't think Trump's the one for that. You know what I mean? I don't think he really is the one to eliminate racial tensions, and strife. So I don't think he's also not the one for. Neither one of them are the one for reparations. Neither one of them are the one for tangibles for Black Americans. So let's just keep that in perspective. Ultimately, neither one of them are even remotely close to honoring any kind of Black agenda.
Well, no. The dump did meet with Ice Cube behind that contract for Black America, and they corrected the platinum plan as a result of it. So he was at least willing to meet with Ice Cube, unlike Sleepy Jim Crow Biden.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, I mean, we got how many more months till the election? Like what, 11, 10?
11, going on 10, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna start going faster and faster after the holidays. So we gotta really be on it then.
Yeah.
I think Eric's right. Eric Adams should do the right thing. Just try to defend your state as much as possible, or whatever you govern as much as possible. You're fucked, sir. You know what I mean? Just try to defend and protect it and keep it going as much as possible. But you know that shit's fraying at a rapid motherfucking. It's tearing like a bad dress, dude. So. So I was just gonna say, just lay down every single fucking epic downfall you got in your city. Take pictures and lay it all out of the fucking foot of fucking Joe Biden, because eventually you're gonna have to hear it from the committee. You know, everybody goes in front of the committee at some point. Get them committee hearings going. That's gonna be good.
No, I can't wait. So we'll keep y'all updated.
I can't wait till our mayor goes up. Doesn't say shit.
Yeah, we'll keep y'all updated. So moving right along, we are down to the last 3 topics of the night. And that is Hannah Payne's murder case begins in Atlanta, Georgia, 4 years later. And our Unhoused Neighbor News and our Unhoused Neighbor Sweeps. So, giving y'all context. So back in 2019, there was a car accident that resulted in a hit and run. And the person that hit Hannah attempted to drive away, and Hannah tracked them down. And instead of listening to the 911 operator, just like we've seen with Zimmerman and several others, she decided to take the law into her own hands and shoot and kill a black man by the name of, what is his name, Christopher? What was his name? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Anyway, this case is finally going to trial after 4 years.
So we give an update to the story. That happened out of Atlanta with the
Where'd you trip it off, cuz?
Caucasian female by the name of Hannah Payne, was she chased down a brother by the name of Kenneth Herring in a story that we talked about before. Now, in this particular story, this brother had left the scene of an accident. This Caucasian female decides to go chase him down, and she ended up shooting and killing him, even though the 911 operator told her to not do that. So I want you to hear the 911 call, and she also was denied.
I just don't understand how it goes from chasing a motherfucker down to killing him.
That's 22-year-old Hannah Payne during a 911 call where she screamed at 62-year-old Kenneth Herring last May on Riverdale Road. You hear scuffling and then... Payne claims Herring shot himself with her gun. Prosecutors say she murdered him.
Instead of complying with law enforcement, this defendant directed paid law enforcement, resulting in
Payne witnessed Herring hit a truck and later leave the scene. She called. 911.
Okay, no, we actually do not want you to chase him. We just want you to be safe.
Payne got Herring's tag number and ignored the operator's request to return to the scene.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm here to tell you I'm not going to follow him. Because he was going to cause another accident.
Prosecutors say she blocked him in, went to his car, and then shot him. John Fowler says Herring had a medical emergency and wasn't drunk.
It was confirmed by our toxicology that he had nothing, no drugs, no alcohol in his system.
The judge denied bond after listening to the recording. Herring's sister didn't buy Payne's claim her brother pulled the trigger. I think that's hard to believe.
So the judge did the right thing by denying her bond for sure. But the 911 operator told her to leave that man alone. And she chased him down and she ended up shooting and killing him because she chose to do that. She changed her clothes and everything. And now she wants to be doing all these crocodile tears in court and looking pitiful and sad. You were looking pitiful and sad when you chased down that brother. Right. You were sounding like a banshee on that 911 call. You were. Because you was amped up and want to do what many people that's probably ancestors have done to black people. Kill them. And want to go home and eat a sandwich after that. The thing is, with this particular case, she needs to be thrown into jail.
Right.
Because they shouldn't be just running around here just getting black folks if they get ready. I mean, that's why they want to run around here talking about they the top nation in the world. How? When you running around killing people. Every day is somebody getting killed, mass shootings, or whatever. But I guarantee you, a bunch of black folks doing that constantly. They have made all kind of laws, but they don't make laws when things like this happen.
Facts.
And this family has to suffer because we just watched Eric Garner's family suffer. They didn't get no justice at all. Now, hopefully with this case, this family do get justice, but it don't bring him back. I just can't believe how she's sitting up there acting like she's the victim. Isn't it amazing how when people like her do something, and they always the victim. They start stuff with you. You retaliate. They're the victim now. They call you the N-word. You say something to them. They're the victim now. They're always playing the victim more than anybody else. But they're always trying to talk about somebody else being the victim. The actual victims, when they actually respond to it the right way and handle it how they see fit, wherever that may be, all of a sudden, why are you doing that? Why are you telling me that? Like, you started what you're talking about. Right. It's like the craziness that they'll pull. Kill a whole man and then you crying like you're the victim. Like something happened to you. Oh, it's like I said, the trickery of Satan. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this particular video. But like I said, don't never fall for the tears. Never look at the victimhood. Because all is attention to the actions. That's it. Trickery, not the deceit, not the words, not the feelings, the actions only.
Right. Uncle Phil way back. Lady Cherry still there?
Yeah. Yep.
Lady Cherry.
Yeah, shit. You didn't hear me? Yeah, I'm still here.
So yeah, that case is now trial. No. No, I didn't hear you. I hear you now.
No, I heard you. Okay, go ahead.
Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we got.
Yeah, so that case is finally going to trial after 4 years.
Yeah.
And like you said, she's sitting up there trying to cry them Becky tears.
Yeah, the fucking tears. Yeah. They just crunch up the face and just make noises, and they act like they're crying, but they ain't crying. They know exactly what they be doing. It's stupid. It's just dumb. It's like you can act like that. 4 years later, all of a sudden, now you hearing your own voice and shit, and the fact that you don't follow the rules, and you see like you just let that motherfucker had a heart attack or some crazy shit. He was old as hell.
Yeah, he was 60
You know what I
something.
Yeah, he had a heart attack. Some white bitch rolled up on him, yelling in his face and shit. And he has to defend himself. He has to tussle, defend himself. Yeah, she did that. Regardless, she did that. So it doesn't even matter. The intent was there. Why did you go? Why did you take your gun out the car with you? You were just going to confront a motherfucker and argue with him in his face. Why you take the gun out? So the intent was there. You intentionally decided to kill that man.
Yeah, but it's on white, and I say so.
Yep. Exactly.
So here's some footage of this madness. Since it's now finally going to trial 4 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A murder case, almost 5 years in the making. Hannah Payne is accused of tracking down 62-year-old Kenneth Herring and shooting him after he allegedly left the scene of an accident. Atlanta News First reporter Chelsea Vine.
I'll be right back.
Chelsea, you've been sitting in on this trial all week long. Today, the jury heard some new evidence and saw some video evidence. What happened?
Yeah, they saw new cell phone video taken by a witness of that shooting. It's too graphic to show on TV, but they also watched new body camera footage shown by police for the first time, which reveals the chaotic moments that happened after the gunshot rang out. Body camera footage played in court Friday shows the moments that Clayton County Police responded to the 2019 shooting scene that killed 62-year-old Kenneth Herring. Prosecutors say 25-year-old Hannah Payne pulled the trigger on purpose after following Herring from the scene of a hit and run, even though 911 dispatchers told her not to. Payne's attorney argues Herring could have inadvertently shot himself when the two got into a tussle.
Looking at this picture, is there an injury in that picture?
There's a small, I don't know what to call it. There's a small mark of upper lip.
Payne's attorney showed the jury photos on Friday of scratches and marks on his client's neck and face that he alleges were caused by Herring. Prosecutors argued they could have been on Payne's body before the incident.
We're shocked and appalled that this happened in Clayton County, Georgia.
The NAACP has been following this case for 4.5 years, saying that Herring was a victim of racial profiling. Several members of the Clayton County chapter sat in on the trial this week to support Herring's family and ensure the process is fair and equitable.
It's a sobering experience that the Herring family is going through.
Court will resume here on Monday morning. Payne's attorneys say it's possible that she will take the stand before the case is turned over to the jury. Reporting live in Clayton County tonight, Chelsea Vine for Atlanta News First.
Days of jury selection, the trial for a woman accused of shooting and killing a man who drove away from a crash got underway this afternoon. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us tonight for Fox 5 News at 5. I'm Tom Haynes.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Prosecutors say Hannah Payne followed, then shot and killed a man after a crash back in 2019. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert has more.
It's been 4.5 years since Kenneth Herring was shot and killed here in Clayton County after he was involved in a crash. Today, his family looked on as the trial for the person accused of killing him got underway.
Welcome back, members of the jury.
After days of jury selection, Hannah Payne got her first look Wednesday at the Clayton County jury who will decide her fate.
You, the jury, must determine the credibility and believability of the witnesses.
Payne is on trial for murder. During opening arguments, prosecutors say she crossed the line in 2019 when she shot and killed 62-year-old Kenneth Herring. Investigators say she followed him after he was involved in a crash, cut him off, and eventually fired the bullet that killed him.
Defendant Hannah Payne had the audacity to chase, corner, detain, assault, shoot, and kill an unarmed 62-year-old Kenneth Herring, who was sitting in his own car.
Prosecutors say Payne made 2 911 calls. Both are expected to be played for the jury. In one, she can be heard shouting for someone to get out of the truck after prosecutors say she chased Herring. There was a long silence, and then she comes back on the phone and says Herring hit her car and then eventually shot himself with her gun.
But this defendant, as far as she was concerned, was the rightest person she knew. Because she tells that 911 operator, well, I'm not going to follow him. I don't know what he's gonna do.
The defense says the deadly shooting was a result of a scuffle where Payne's shirt was ripped, her chest and face clawed. Her attorney says Payne followed Herring because she was trying to get his license plate number like she was told.
She has no malice intent. She never seen anything like that. 21 years old.
The defense says Herring was driving erratically, but prosecutors say he was dealing with a medical issue. The defense claims the incident was a citizen's arrest, and Payne acted in self-defense.
If somebody maliciously tried to kill you, they don't ask for an ambulance. They don't pick up the phone and say, hey, let me walk over here and talk to him a little bit. She immediately picks up Scream's ambulance, and she says it numerous times.
Payne faces several charges, including malice murder. The trial officially started today and is expected to continue into next week. In Clayton County, Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
Yeah. Lady Shay, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. They just be shutting off the water pressure in my house. Like all hours of the night. Like, don't tell nobody nothing.
So what are your thoughts on Hannah Payne finally going to trial 4 years later?
Stupid. No, she's going to jail. She's going to jail. That's it. Yep. She's going to jail. That's it. That's all that can be said. That's all she. I mean, it doesn't matter how many fucking tears she cried. She shouldn't have went. Even if you did find out, I mean, like, I can't understand chasing a motherfucker down, when they hit you, because that's what I did when that motherfucker hit me in the truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't have no tool on me. Not like that. I mean, and it wasn't trying to hurt the motherfucker. I just wanted him to fucking do the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't leave a scene, especially like in my situation. I didn't even go very far. I just went around the corner, but still, you know what I mean. I don't think I confronted him in an aggressive manner, but at the same time, nobody told me not to go do it. So yeah, I didn't consult with the police though prior to, because that's just not what I do. So, you know what I mean? I didn't do that. I think I was on the phone with you when I called when that shit happened.
Yep.
She was fucked up. And also too, I mean, like in my circumstances, both people that had ever hit me while I was, driving around in my little chair have all been white. It wasn't any of us, you know what I mean? It wasn't like one of us. And even then, I'm sure that I would have reasonably had a discussion if it was one of us, you know what I mean? Because it's not that difficult to have a civilized fucking discussion with us. You know what I mean? To come to some sort of understanding. It's not really that difficult. It's pretty easy. And look, just say, your fault. Take some responsibility. Fucking cop some insurance shit. Or cut a motherfucking check and keep it pushing. Simple as that. Simple as that. It really doesn't have to be so fucking dumb, you know what I mean? Whereas in all these interactions, they always end up stupid, and then who ends up paying for it? Us.
Yes.
Lives. With our lives. But it didn't even have to be that way. It could have just simply came at us correctly, like calmly. Because you activate, we activate. You activate harder, we get harder. Then we get scared because we know it's about to go down. And we try to protect ourselves. And then who ends up suffering at the end of the day? Some way, somehow, it's us. Where we started out the victim. How the fuck did that happen? See what I'm saying?
Any sense?
No. That man had a heart attack or something was happening, like even like a minor heart attack, like what I was told I had. Dude, that shit caused a little blindness. I'm shaking. I can't fucking, I can't see correctly. I had like a little miniature heart attack. He probably scared himself when he hit old girl. You know what I mean? And he probably didn't know what to do. He probably said, to Karen. look, peel off real quick. You know what I mean? This is gonna be trouble. Probably saw Forrest in the future, and that's why I dipped. I want to deal with this fucking Karen. You know, my heart hurts.
Right. Okay.
It was the same place to pull off. Who knows? Who knows what the real issue was? But was that a picture? Was that a video of her in the street talking on the phone after she capped old boy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, she mad. She majorly wrong. Majorly wrong. She should have just stayed her white ass where she was and just called and told somebody. You know what I mean? And eventually somebody would have said, "Oh, that's his car," and he would have said, "I'm sorry." Here's the, you know what I mean? He looked like he could be reasonable. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was trying to get to the hospital. My bad. I couldn't let nothing deter my journey. You know what I mean? But he would still be alive. You know?
Right. So we'll keep y'all updated. Hopefully this broad goes to prison for a very long time. She gets charged with vehicular homicide or straight up murder altogether.
Yeah, either way her intent is clear, and you know, they still penalize you for intention. Just the thought of it is an intent. You know what I mean? So if they can't catch you on anything else, it's intention. So
it's just a damn shame it took 4 years for this to finally go to trial. Almost 5 years. Ridiculous.
What's really sucky is that, like, no matter what the outcome is, like, just like in all the other shit that we watch and fucking review, it's not going to be as satisfying as it would have been right then and there. You know what I mean?
Yep. So moving along, we're down to the last two topics of the night, and that's our Unhoused Neighbor News and our Unhoused Neighbor Sweeps. That was the mouse. God damn it, it's the goddamn mouse. The sweeps continue.
Mine was out too, venturing around it. I was like, hell nah, put my feet up. I can't deal with this shit right now. If they're loud, dude, they don't even know how to creep around quietly anymore. They're just loud. Having whole C meetings and shit. Chopping it up in random closets and dark spaces.
Yep. So the Unhoused Neighbor News, the sweeps continue. Mayor Johnson talking about he gonna house 1,000 people, 1,200 people by the end of the year. Yeah, right. Not happening. And
especially not after tomorrow's city council meeting. The submarine will be going down. We see ships over here. I want to see him fail. He has to fail. You know, that's what happens when you like people.
Right.
Some failure needs to happen. You know, I'm not gonna feel guilty about it at all. Like, it's what I do. Sink battleships.
Yeah, so he's not gonna make the goal.
Hell nah.
And my building is still infested.
Correct.
And there's some articles or stories or videos I wanted to play. People are updated on what's happening with our unhoused neighbor crisis here in Colorado. Denver. So the first one is about Uptown. Uptown is a neighborhood in East Denver, just east of downtown. Where the
NIMBYism is fucking crucial over there.
And it has the renters ready to break their leases. Ooh, they want to break their leases to get away.
Simpson laughed.
We're focusing on an encampment that went up October 4th outside some luxury apartment buildings in the Uptown neighborhood by St. Joseph's Hospital. It's home to a bunch of 30-somethings, the very demographic Denver wants to attract, but is in danger of losing. But as residents tell us, they no longer feel safe the moment they step outside.
What up, baby?
The homeless encampments at 18th and Marion showed up October 4th. For those who live in the expensive Kendrick buildings across the street, quality of life has gone down ever since.
drug dealers are coming by, drug deals are happening, open drug use. There's needles and human waste everywhere. We've had residents reported that they found people in stairwells doing fentanyl.
I have a video of a fire that I had to call out the person in the tent. It turns out their tent was on fire because the propane tank was on fire inside their tent. I feel unsafe.
She got that shit on camera, cuz she was serious.
Happening. We're right next to a hospital. We thought we were going to be safe living near here.
Just recently, I was walking my dog and made it maybe 40 feet from the building and watched a man brutally beat another man with a crutch. So
I hit them both with a crutch too.
Reed, Green, and Connie are all Denver transplants. Live anywhere because they work remotely, but chose Denver, only to second guess their decisions. They don't even want to provide their last names after they say multiple cars inside their garage were broken into.
We can no longer safely go outside by ourselves without feeling very concerned.
The white folks are terrorized by the homeless.
Followed. We've been yelled at.
I lived in Chicago for 8 years, and
that sounds like discrimination to me.
Safety as I have felt here since I moved in.
So you're at the point where you would consider breaking your lease?
Yeah, absolutely.
It might cost them thousands of dollars, but all three tenants we spoke to said it's a price they may soon pay.
I don't know if I've seen anybody move in. I've seen a lot of people move out.
Denver Fire has responded to this area 9 times in a 7-week period, including for the Payne Tanks fire on October 7th, followed by fires on October 9th, October 15th, November 15th, and the death in one of the tents on October 23rd. Denver police have responded to the area 81 times between October 4th and November 21st. Not always because of the encampments, though that was the most common code, used 20 times, followed by threats, assault, suspicious occurrence, narcotics, check hazard, and that homeless death on October 23rd.
The good news is that the housing units are coming, that we have hundreds of units set to open in the month of December.
Cole Chandler is the mayor's senior advisor resolution.
My battleship list.
1,395 units in the pipeline.
Yeah, you're tomorrow.
Homeless too.
Prior to the Johnson administration, the policy around addressing encampments was really just moving encampments from block to block. And so we never really saw the issue of encampments being resolved.
Just last week, the city announced it would soon be closing 2 encampments at 20th and Curtis and 48th in Colorado, getting another 200 people off the streets. That would bring the city halfway toward its goal to find housing for 1,000 homeless people by December 31st.
We believe that at the end of this year, 1,000 people that were living on the streets will have come indoors, but that is absolutely not the end for us. That's the beginning of a long process of making Denver vibrant and safe and really a great city to live in for everyone.
But these tenants say they're running out of patience, which could lead them to abandon neighborhoods that had been on the upswing.
For me, it's disappointing because Denver has been such a fun place to live. Since I've moved here, I've met so many people. Everyone's friendly, wanting to go do things and be active, but the city itself is just
like that.
I very much understand it's a complicated issue, and I understand that there's a lot of layers, a lot of things that need to go into actually resolving this and working through it. But at the same time, I don't necessarily feel like I've seen any progress.
We're not just here to say let's move these homeless people and just get them out of our sight. There's nobody here actually trying to help these people.
Chandler insists the city has outreach teams visiting the encampments until it's prepared to close them.
It requires asking neighborhoods to be patient with us while we work to get those housing units online. But instead of just moving a camp from block to block, we're focused on getting people into long-term solutions so that we can get people on a path to permanent housing.
A spokesperson for the Kendrick buildings says it was promised by the mayor's deputy chief of staff the camp across the street would close in December. But the mayor's office and Cole Chandler admitted to us the encampment at 18th and Marion is not on a closure list because it doesn't yet have a place for that particular homeless population. You can go to our website to find the House 1000 database that tracks the city's progress towards moving the homeless into housing. Rob Lowe, Fox 31.
I was just over there. I didn't even see no encampment over there. Interesting.
When you went to go get my medicine, you saw where they were, right?
No, they weren't on Marion.
No, where you had to go get my medicine at.
That was on Downey.
Yeah. Is Downey? Is Downey?
Yeah, it's Downey.
Did it take the 20?
Yep, that's Downey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't see no encampments over there.
On
You said
Downey?
you said they're on Park Avenue now. No, there was no encampments on Downey.
Where you go, okay, from like the hospital where we catch the 20 to come to my house.
Yeah, there was no encampments on Downey. So I don't know where they moved them to, but I didn't see no encampments on Downey.
Man, I need to get my shit fixed so I could do live streaming. Yeah, it's right by the hospital. Not Park Avenue. Downey. Yeah, it's right by the hospital.
I didn't go down to Ogden. So they're probably over on Ogden.
Yeah.
But people moving and experiencing homelessness out of camp.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. Well, when you come, okay, yeah. You know what? I guess I got to show you or figure it out. I can't explain it to you because you would know how the hospital's laid out. So I went the way like I would go from 7-Eleven to the bus stop because my doctor's like a block away from there for the hospital. So I went around this. I went like in a whole kind of circle because I was looking for the address. And that first building that I used to go to the doctors at, and then they switched it to the really nice cardiologist, and then they switched it back to the back in that building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, that's where the clinic is. That's where my new doctor's is, and I think I gotta go see pretty sure I gotta go in that building again for the cardiologist. I go this next time again. Anyway. It was over there. It was like roads, but I wasn't even tripping because I was just like, business as usual. I had stuff to do, And I was like, geez, this is where they were because then they keep moving them around. So it's like you're not housing nobody. You're just shipping people, and in those months, the October to November, that's cold months.
Yep.
Of course, you're gonna see fires and shit like that. That's the cold months.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And an accidental or a civilian death. They just talked about it like it was nothing. Like, you know what I mean? That was something. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right, carry on.
So I think this is the same one. I'm not sure.
City of Denver says they're planning to move a large encampment of people experiencing homelessness off the streets.
That is where Brianna Fernandez is live outside the formal DoubleTree Hotel on Quebec Street. And Brianna, the city will move people into that building this morning.
Exactly. So the city is calling this an encampment resolution. Essentially what that is, it's a homeless sweep. And we've seen this in Denver. This is the fourth homeless sweep under Mayor Mike Johnson's plan. So we know that they're trying to shut down that homeless camp at the intersection of 20th and Curtis. According to the city, right now, there's about more than 100 people living there in that area. So today we can expect to see outreach workers start moving people to indoor shelters around the area, including here at the formal DoubleTree Hotel. And people will have access to support services as well as permanent housing. And as we mentioned earlier, this is part of Mayor Mike Johnson's plan to get 1,000 people off the street and into housing by the end of the year. Now, as 2023 wraps up, Mayor Mike Johnson he's about 700 people short of his plan. I actually just checked the city's dashboard, and there's 317 people sheltered. So in about 30 minutes, we are expected to hear from Mayor Mike Johnson and how he plans to reach that goal in just a couple of weeks as we wrap up 20.
Oh man, we counted the days down like nobody's business.
An encampment that went up October 4th outside some apartments.
Yeah, it's not happening. Better luck next year, Mike. Not happening.
Even if he does it, it don't make no fucking difference because in 3 to 6 months he's kicking them all out that shit just so he can fucking house migrants. So it's pointless. They're just gonna go ahead and carry on with our shit like we told you. Yeah. And that's how you're gonna get a city council us laughing at you. Oh, dumbass. Should be stealing. And then not have a really fucking adequate plan. And then not listen to nobody when they fucking speak to you. So, hey, It is what it is.
Speaking of the migrants, Denver is
Shoulder shrug.
closing a animal shelter in the city and begins housing migrants in Aurora.
City is out of space to house migrants. So Denver is setting them up in Aurora's long-term motels. After our Mark Salinger reported that that's been forcing people living there onto the streets, Denver promised to make that right. The city of Denver's newest migrant
Just don't
shelter.
count either, folks. This has to be separate. This has to be separate. Like, I want to make sure that they have an understanding. This don't count. Just because you house immigrants, it does not take away from your thousand people housing Americans that are unhoused.
Hard for us
Shout out.
to find a place to live because it's so expensive. After we started asking questions about Coloradans being forced out in favor of migrants, Denver says everyone displaced in Aurora will now be allowed back at the hotel.
Some cities are less supportive than others, but I have to give my hat off to Aurora. They have been open. Mayor Toppin's been a great partner, and we're looking at long-term partnerships there.
While Denver doesn't technically need Aurora's cooperation to rent rooms from a private hotel, it doesn't exactly sound like Aurora is on board with the plan, like Johnston says.
Maybe talk to the city council. Maybe talk to the entire governing body, because I can tell you, none of my colleagues know about this either. None of them.
Republican City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky says she was never told about Denver sending migrants to her city. Republican Councilman Curtis is making Aurora deal with Denver's problems.
Hands up for him. This is sneak shit.
Makes it really hard to trust other jurisdictions and gain that regional cooperation.
Even an official statement from the city of Aurora,
but racists are talking.
The city is a willing participant. Denver's decision to transport migrants to Aurora was Denver's decision alone, the statement said.
And we have to add 300 units in 24 hours. We have to look wherever we can to add our next set of units.
While Johnston says Aurora was the only spot his city could find hotel rooms on short notice, Denver is now shutting down a migrant shelter in the city and converting it to a homeless shelter.
To address one problem and create another problem, you're really just shuffling people around at that point and playing games with people's lives.
Gardner says housing the homeless at the Radisson Hotel in Denver would get Johnston closer to hitting his goal of housing 1,000 people by the end of the year. Housing migrants there would not help that goal. Johnston calls it a better long-term use of the hotel. So we heard that story last night with Joe, who had been pushed out of a hotel that he'd been living in for months when the city of Denver leased all the rooms to migrants. Important to note that Joe works as a chef for Danielle Jurinsky's restaurant, which she owns. After the story, Joe got a call from the regional manager of the Quality Inn. He says he'll be allowed back at the hotel and will be given a free room for a week. The city of Denver says they told the Quality Inn to not push out any more people to make room for migrants. But at the end of the day, Kyle, that decision is still up to the owner of that hotel to say yes or no, we will or will not do that. And as we talked about here last night, if the city of Denver walks in flashing cash at places that house vulnerable people, they know what's likely to happen, which is displacement. So they move these migrants in, right? And the migrants are on a 14-day clock, which is what the city's doing so that they can get federal aid to help people. What happens when 14 days runs out? That's what the city council members want to know. Is the city of Denver going to send buses to say, hey, you've stayed 14 days in Aurora, now we'll take you back to Denver and in theory, push them out onto the streets there? Or will the city of Denver just say, hey, your 14 days are up at the shelter, you're out on the streets in Aurora? And as we've talked to migrants,
hey, forever for that sneak shit right there.
Right. On top of it. Mark, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Hey, check this out. How the fuck is Jurinsky's restaurant gonna where old boy the white dude works, right? Called the hotel where old boy was kicked out and said, you could come back for just a week. I mean, what kind of motherfucking councilwoman is that? He cook your food at your restaurant, bitch, and you ain't gonna let him stay? What kind of shit is that?
Yeah.
That's just one portion of this fucking this whole thing that's wrong. The other thing is like A for effort fucking and he sold that lie like nobody's business. These fucking Justin was like, I've had the Aurora for helping us. We're like, what? We didn't do none of that shit. We didn't want none of the people over here. We just threw some money at them motherfuckers. They were like, yeah, come on in. You can rent this whole hotel out. Hey, hey, they in your city now. What you gonna do about it?
Right.
That is funny. That's a good move, Justin. I think give you a little hand clap right there for that sneaky shit you did.
Mm-hmm.
And then say, hey, yeah, they go sign it. She's like, no, the fuck we didn't. You know, fat ass motherfucker was like, no, the fuck we didn't. You might want to concur with us. Yeah, can you talk to us? Where was Mayor Kaufman who got the big voucher for? Yeah, he said, go ahead.
Yeah, homeless Mike. There was homeless Mike on the issue.
Shit, what's in it for me? Yeah, they get kicked out in 14 days. Look how they did the fucking restaurant cook who works in the city under that bitch. He only gets a week. They get 7 days longer than the fucking white dude. Sounds like an issue. And he got a job. That's fucked up. You see how fucked up shitty that is? Working man, citizen of the city, work in the fucking councilwoman's motherfucking restaurant that she owns, and her white ass won't even come out of her pocket to let that motherfucker have constant employment. He's at risk for losing his job at every fucking stake of the game. Is he will be cooking for her fucking sorry ass restaurant any motherfucking way?
Right. So they plan on opening a homeless shelter in my neighborhood. I keep saying Central Park, but it's not going to be in Central Park. It's going to be in Northeast Park Hill. And they had a town hall last week, a week before last, where they were discussing how people in the neighborhood felt about it. So I'm going to play that video next.
Well, a new homeless shelter could soon open its doors in the Central Park area in Denver, and tonight neighbors have a chance to weigh in.
Fox 31's Lisa D'Souza, she's on breaking down those details along with complaints about bed bugs at some existing shelters. Lisa.
Good morning. So right now we are at that proposed shelter location, which is off East 38th Avenue here at the former Stay In. And taking a look at this big building here, you can see it looks like some pre-construction is underway. Obviously, the windows there are boarded up. There's fencing up. We're actually seeing a few construction workers out here, what appears to be construction workers out here this morning. Tonight, neighbors, they'll be able to meet in person or virtually with city officials to have their questions about all of this answered. So here's the details here on your screen. Tonight's meeting taking place at the McLone Academy off of Crown Boulevard from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Another proposed shelter space, again, coming up alongside some health concerns at an existing shelter. A family staying at the city shelter off Quebec telling us roaches and bed bugs are a problem, biting their children. You can see this video. It shows an apparent bite.
Yeah, I covered this on the last Front Line Blacc news when we were talking about the unhoused neighbors and the unhoused neighbor news. But yeah, they still ain't done nothing to rectify this. It's still going on weeks later. So the next one I wanted to play was Kyle Clark taking Mayor Johnson to task about his house 1,000 people. And
hey man, Kyle Clark get it.
Denver's mayor has just weeks to hit his goal of housing 1,000 homeless people by the end of the year. People in one part of the city want to know why so much of the burden is falling on them.
His plan calls for another hotel in Northeast Denver. The latest location is at 38th and Peoria. This would make 4 hotels near Montbello and Central Park, but so far, no locations have been approved in any other part of the city.
Karen Morfitt talked with the mayor at a community meeting tonight. And Karen, people are also questioning whether this plan will even work.
Yeah, and we had that same question as well, especially after talking with those who were among the first moves into this type of shelter back in September. The thoughts on how things are going so far were very different. Ask Kyra Dolores, and she'll tell you life on the streets is anything but pleasant. Yet she's considering going back.
And I'm so grateful I have running water to this day. But it just seems purposeless. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. It's just like what's really going on here? Because I don't feel like I'm doing anything but vegetating.
A stark change from where she was just a few months ago.
A lot of lives are going to change
Dolores was one of 77 people moved off the street and into a converted hotel in September, part of the mayor's first homeless camp resolution and a first step in his mission to house 1,000. The city hopes to use the Stay In on Peoria in a similar manner and took their plan to a concerned community. Their questions centered around the location and safety.
How well are these supportive housing areas working?
Oh man, I have flashbacks right there.
Works with the right support services in
I know, that was my hallway, dude.
Promised, not
See, my hallway, I have flashbacks, like
not always
that hall, like scared, like a motherfucker.
Housed at one of the
It's
city's
not right, walking fast. I don't run, I walk fast.
case managers.
So depressing. It's like I feel so hopeless.
My
I'm
house.
actually considering leaving. I feel like I can navigate. I feel like I can navigate better, closer to where I was. The resources, even though it was unpleasant many times.
We used the meeting as an opportunity to ask the mayor about those struggling to get that support.
It's also why we have data on
Going
these sites to say, oh, we need to improve more on mental health at site one. Or workforce like
people
prepared to do that.
This temporary house.
Every time I go down there to go get a soda,
looking
or right before I go to your up to your house, I gotta go down there and get a soda.
Permanent affordable housing.
On my eyes every time, because not only was I fucking abused over there in that apartment,
Without a case manager, Dolores has couldn't help her. And while she's grateful for the roof she's been given, she worries the road the city is on may lead to more of the same.
The mayor just kind of seems to be
grab me up and throw me around the hallway
without really talking to
my
people in the middle of it. The people with the best answers are the people going through the hell.
So people's right there.
I have been staying in touch with Kyra Dolores since her first day in housing over that time. She's also raised concerns about the lack of accountability for those in housing and thinks minimal requirements to stay could be helpful. Her last email, she says she's feeling more positive with her newest case manager, like she's willing to help. We will continue to follow her through.
I only felt like that about not even a handful of case managers. I've had 6 case managers since I've been here.
I don't think I've ever felt like that because they saw how they did me over there when I was at the fusion. I mean, that shit was serious. Like if anybody needed motherfucking help, it was me. It was definitely fucking me. You know what I mean? And I was there. Like I couldn't even utilize the same resources Jesse had at all. I had to go all the way across town, and that was in a situation of its own. But just yeah, that shit gave me major flashbacks, man. Of that time going to get a soda. How could you even think about it like that? Like going to get a soda and having to remember, oh man, times I had to escape my apartment for safety. Or I would have got killed in my own shit, you know what I mean?
So the next one is they okayed the micro community in Flores district. Is it the Flores district or Jamie Torres's district?
Developments in Denver's effort to house the homeless. The Gathering Place, a local organization, will operate one of the city's micro communities. That community, which is under construction right now, will provide short-term housing and wraparound support for children as well as transgender and non-binary people. Alai Village will have 44 manufactured sleeping units and 2 community buildings right there on site.
That's the one that only gonna house women in
Denver's effort to house.
Yes, right?
Yeah. And a lot of it's on West. It's in West Denver. And then this one is Kyle Clark going off on Johnston.
He should. I'll be hitting with some hard facts.
Denver sending migrants to Aurora's motels, displacing longtime residents to the streets.
He is creating homeless people, and maybe he doesn't care because he's creating homeless people in Aurora and not Denver. But I care very much.
Denver's latest decision to move even more migrants, and a word about whether the new mayor is keeping his promises. Being rich and powerful shouldn't be enough to get you around the rules, even for the man who wants to significantly change Colorado's elections. And the renewed importance of Hanukkah at a time when Jewish people in Colorado and around the world are facing increased threats. Jewish history is a series of events, some of them triumphant, some of them tragic. Tonight, on Next. Denver's mayor says the city is out of space to house migrants, so Denver is setting them up in Aurora's long-term motels. After our Mark Salinger reported that that's been forcing people living there onto the streets, Denver promised to make that right. The city of Denver's newest migrant shelter is not even in Denver. 400 migrants now live at this Quality Inn in Aurora that displaced long-term residents like Joe Sacetta, who spent several days living in his car after he was kicked out of the hotel.
The housing cost is so high, it's hard for us to find a place to live because it's so expensive.
After we started asking questions about Coloradans being forced out in favor of migrants, Denver says everyone displaced in Aurora will now be allowed back at the hotel.
Some cities are less supportive than others, but I have to give my hat off to Aurora. They have been open. Mayor Kaufman's been a great partner, and we're looking at long-term partnerships there.
While Denver doesn't technically need Aurora's cooperation to rent rooms from a private hotel, it doesn't exactly sound like Aurora is on board with the plan, like Johnston says.
Maybe talk to the city council, maybe talk to the entire governing body, because I can tell you, none of my colleagues knew about this either. None of them.
Republican City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky says she was never told about Denver sending migrants to her city. Republican Councilman Curtis Gardner says Johnston is making Aurora deal with Denver's problems.
Playing games like this with people's lives makes it really hard to trust other jurisdictions and gain that regional cooperation.
Even an official statement from the city of Aurora refutes Johnston's claim that the city is a willing participant. Denver's decision to transport migrants to Aurora was Denver's decision alone, the statement said.
And we have to add 300 units in 24 hours. We have to look wherever we can to add our next set of units.
While Johnston says Aurora was the only spot his city could find hotel rooms on short notice, Denver is now shutting down a migrant shelter in the city and converting it to a homeless shelter.
To address one problem and create another problem, you're really just shuffling people around at that point and playing games with people's lives.
Gardner says housing the homeless at the Radisson Hotel in Denver would get Johnston closer to hitting his goal of housing 1,000 people by the end of the year. Housing migrants there would not help that goal. Johnston,
hey, that right there, mad
of the hotel.
Yeah.
So we heard that story last night with Joe, who'd been pushed out of a hotel that he'd been living in for months when the city of Denver leased all the rooms to migrants. Important to note that Joe works as a chef for Danielle Jurinsky's restaurant, which she owns.
Pause right there. Wait, don't pause. Just don't pause. I'm just saying, you know, with all paying week to week.
At the hotel, and will be given a free room for a week.
Why the fuck they kick him out?
They told the Quality Inn to not push out any more people to make room for migrants, but at the end of the day, Kyle, that decision is still up to the owner of that hotel to say yes or no, we will or will not do that.
And as we talked about here last night, if the city of Denver walks in flashing cash at places that house vulnerable people, they know what's likely to happen, which is displacement. So they move these migrants in.
Right.
And the migrants are on a 14-day clock, which is what the city's doing so that they can get federal aid to help people. What happens when 14 days runs out?
That's what the city council members want to know. Is the city of Denver going to send buses to say, hey, you've stayed 14 days in Aurora, now we'll take you back to Denver?
No.
And in theory, push them out onto the streets there? Or will the city of Denver just say, hey, your 14 days are up at the shelter, you're out on the streets in Aurora?
And as we've talked to migrants, they mainly tell us they're trying to learn the area, they're trying to learn a neighborhood to work, they're trying to find jobs, move place to place. That makes it a lot tougher. It's not helping. Mark, thank you. Denver Mayor Mike Johnston came in promising to address homelessness with more compassion and more competence than the last administration. Denver forcing vulnerable people out of long-term motels and onto the streets in order to make room for migrants. That is not compassionate, and it is not competent.
That's right.
Denver faces an unprecedented challenge of meeting the mayor's self-imposed deadline to house 1,000 people living on the streets by the end of the year at the exact same time that migrants are still flowing here from the southern border. Complex challenges do not excuse a lack of compassion and competence. Displacing vulnerable Coloradans from their housing in favor of migrants, that also plays directly into the hands of the people who are framing this as a false choice between helping the homeless or migrants, not both.
The Johnston administration additionally runs the risk of discrediting its entire effort to house 1,000 people, because now journalists and critics can rightly ask, well, how many people did Denver make homeless in the process? This appears to be a one-time example
That's
of
pretty much what we've been saying.
that the city is trying to fix after we called attention to it. But for a new mayor who promised more compassion and more competence in addressing homelessness, this could be a big setback. Colorado Democrats at the Capitol are deeply divided over the Israel-Hamas war. Now, one Democrat who apologized for not denouncing Hamas, as party leadership suggested.
Okay, what are your thoughts on what Kyle Clark had just said about Johnson's house and promises?
Yeah, that was fun. Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to play.
I can't wait. Well, so like really tomorrow, we have city council. So let's see what kind of damage we're gonna be able to do over there. I'm pretty excited. I mean, it doesn't not help us. I mean, it doesn't not bring light to the issue of what we've been talking about for fucking damn near 3-4 years now. So, and this is just, of course, we like to see the mayor embarrass himself here and there.
Right.
If he was in our shoes and we were in our rightful place, surely he'd find amusement of trying to shame our efforts as well. So it goes both ways. So this is more of a bad look. I do think that you gotta give him some kind of credit because he did move a lot faster than Hancock ever did. So
yeah,
well, it is what it is. We can close it out because I want to say, just tell everybody happy holidays and shit, and we'll see each other probably tomorrow or whatever for the city council stuff. And
any update on the RBA?
Yeah. No. It's like yeah. Yeah, I gotta update. Depends on I got some stuff I gotta take care of tomorrow because I'm here all by myself and I don't really have any help right now. So I need like a couple of little things taken care of. So I'll try to get that done. Because it's gonna be a really fucking heavy week for me. I'm hoping to do it after sometime. It's gonna be tough because it depends on what happens tomorrow, honestly. So if I don't do it tomorrow, then the next closest time will probably be Wednesday or Thursday. It depends because I have housing too. Like I said, I'm here by myself and the housing lady coming physical therapy, and I still gotta do a couple little tiny things I gotta take care of around here, including and not limited to getting some groceries. And not limited to. So it's pretty much all. And I'm probably looking at Wednesday or Thursday, if not tomorrow, because I don't know what's on the agenda for city council, if it's going to be a long night or what, because
I think it is going to be a long night because they had some unfinished business they didn't get to due to the protests about Palestine and Israel. Oh, Jay's back. Oh, yeah, we about to end it, Jay. Appreciate you tapping back in, though.
Yeah, so really depends on what happens tomorrow. If it's gonna be if the agenda is gonna be long or not. Because then if it's not gonna be a long one, then I'll probably start it right after. Hopefully after I get done shaming fucking city council. Depends.
Yeah.
I'll know more by tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like when I talk to you in the morning, but Right now, from the looks of it, it looks like probably Wednesday or Thursday. Depends. I mean, it really depends. Like a lot of things I gotta do. I think I get the house ready for a fucking terminate to come.
Oh no.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I was supposed to get done this weekend. Remember, can't have them come take care of it. Like the shit's not handled up. But I I do gotta ask you a question offline though, because it's kind of important. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much where I'm at. I won't know until tomorrow. Both the housing and everything happens in the morning.
Correct.
When you trying to do that, Jay?
I got a damn mouse in here because I hear it smoking.
I don't hear mine. I hope he's cold somewhere and froze to death. I hope he froze to death. Yeah, okay. Yeah, what's up, Jay? Let us know what you're planning on doing, because right now it's like 1:30 in the morning.
Three public hearings tomorrow or today. Yeah, so it's gonna be a long meeting.
All right, so it'll probably be shit. Not even tonight anymore. It's this morning. Sorry, this morning. I myself have to go to bed. I got physical therapy in the morning. Like that should be wearing a motherfucker out.
Yeah.
But I want to participate on a live job tomorrow. Definitely. So like we could chop it up about the things, those little video clips I sent you, in the messenger, because I think that's a prime crucial discussions right there. But I mean, they're mad at music, so I don't know. Shit kind of writes itself. So either way, hit us up, hit me up, hit us up, whatever. Jesse, I'll call you. Actually, I'm just gonna ask you this question as soon as you end the live. So, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go lay down. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, thank y'all.
Stay dangerous and happy Black holidays coming up.
Yeah, Russia Tuesday is coming up.
Kwanzaa's coming up.
Yeah.
Jesse's birthday's coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. All of that is coming up. So thank y'all for tuning into oh yes, big time.
Yeah, for sure. that is the truth right there. I should make a song like that. That's should be the title. Israel's worst nightmare. That should be the title right there.
Oh yeah, thank you, Deacon.
Thank you, Deacon. I hope you subscribe to the RVA, because as soon as it does go live, either probably Wednesday or Thursday, it's gonna be pretty intense. Yeah, it got like 3 of them already lined up, so we're back to back. Nothing but chaos. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Deacon. Thank you, Jay, as always, for coming back. And whoever else, Shabaka, damn you.
Shabaka wasn't happy about his Gators losing yesterday.
Did the Broncos win?
Of course the Broncos won. Why wouldn't the Broncos win?
No wonder you're in a good mood, you old crazy individual.
The Broncos won and the Niners won, so it's a beautiful day.
Congratulations, Jay. Happy times. Yeah, so that's why you went to sleep on your ass, huh?
Yeah, so thank y'all for tuning into season 3, episode 32, or not 32, 36, or Trey 6, part 2 of the Front Line Blacc News, and we will be back tomorrow with a new RBA, Lady Che.
You can't try to force me to do it. It's like, look, man, I gotta be in the mood. Like it's mostly therapeutic nowadays, because he takes all the good topics, like everybody does, and just wears them all out. Teresa, I don't want to put my beautiful little feetsies in worn out topics. You know what I mean? I can't just walk around like that. I gotta be like, I gotta do my own thing. Like, my own thing is different from Jesse.
And Tuesday, make sure you check us out for a brand new episode of the Front of Shabaka Black Experience.
Yeah, man, we've been giving it to him.
That's the call.
The audacity of motherfucking Joe Gibson bringing his little white friends with him. Trying to act like he was tough and shit. He's like, I brought my friends. I had to bring my brother. Like, just bring your friends to work day and shit.
So yeah, feel free to call in every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. in the East. So peace, love, light, reparations, and separations, and Black empowerment. And shout out to everybody that tuned in. Sab that tuned in earlier. Jay Militant who tuned in. Is tuning in now as well. Deacon and Twin and Kelly. We appreciate y'all for tapping in, and we'll see y'all on future content. Peace.
Peace.